Hello everybody and welcome to the GPVWC Super League. And
Grand Prix
welcome
of
to the Bahrain. It's very self. We are here in the hot, heated desert. There may still be a drop of water for us all to play with at some point as well. We've just moved into the qualifying session. 15 minutes of high-octane pixelated action for you to see who is going to be top of the dogs here at the Bahrain International Circuit. My name is Simon Smith, as ever, dragging you kicking and screaming through the Super League commentary, whether you like it or not. And alongside me, once again, is Monsieur Lewis McGlade. How you doing, Lewis?
Yeah, I'm good. 3 rounds in a row here again. It's hopefully going to be a bit of good fun. Yeah, I think we're going to stay dry for all of this. I think we're going to have rain like we did in Formula Challenge. I did notice that Lewis Reggio, who's currently the championship leader, had a nice spin on his outlap. But yeah, in the qualifying session, third of the season, and that midnight is looking very, very fast at the moment.
It is indeed. We'll dive onto the old points distribution of how things are going and who's looking like the best car out there. Mr. McGlade has got all the knowledge in the head. As ever, on cameras, it's Mr. Extraordinaire Simon Malouche. Again, as Nick Rowland and Lee Morris nearly come to blows on the out lap there. Apologies for the loss of visuals. We'll be with those again shortly. As they just come round on this Bahrain International Circuit, there's a few things that's worthwhile noting. Is that this track features variable grip in regards to what is actually on the racing line and what is off the racing line. It's one of the things that was simulated by the CTDP mod team as they do things. I had to get all those letters out.
Yeah.
And it seems to have caught out a few people in Formula Challenge, a few in Super League, and I imagine it will do the same. For Super Cup, and I'd imagine it would do the same for Super League. Everyone kicks off on their first formation lap.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was good. I'm now more knowledgeable. I feel knowledgeable.
Do you feel much more happier at the rate of what we were spinning round and in Formula Challenge?
Yeah. Now it all makes absolute sense as to what was going on back then.
Yeah, back in 2010 or 2011, I think it was when it came out, because I've raced this in a previous lifetime, and it caught out a fair few people then, and I can see it doing a few now, because there's a few people that are having really tardy exits out of that final corner, and that's only going to hurt you all the way down that massive long start-finish straight.
Yeah, so it's quite a tricky track, to be honest. As much as it looks simple from a track map, you've got quite a few difficult corners that require, a bit of a late apex, a little dab of a throttle midway. It's kind of, some of them are just really weird, such as the final turn, 14. It's a bit of an odd one, that is. Our current fastest time, Gogabaldi, a 30.279. Currently holding P1, but how long will he do that for? As Lewis Redshaw. There you go, moves himself up to P1, 29.3. Not very long at all.
But no, it's been very much, we'll get onto this, but it will start to unfold as qualifying goes through. CSG have done extremely well during the opening 2 rounds, of Lewis Redshaw currently leading the championship. Greg Gergabaldi is in second for Hawkeye. Nick Rowland's moved into third for Simcraft Midnight Motorsport, and they're definitely looking like a team that's on a resurgence here today. Yeah,
they've got a very, very strong car, by far the best on the grid at the moment, and a very good engine as well, so they'll be looking to push their way forward.
Lee Morris has moved into 4th for Kerr now, ahead of Kenny Lybeer for Vod Bull Racing in 5th, and for a team that's not really peaked out too much actually, Kenny has been leading the charge to get them up into the top 10 with teammate Morton Bernardson a little bit further down the field, but definitely looking on for potential top 10s if they can put it all together.
Yeah, that Vod Bull's looking pretty good as well. On paper it's the second best car, but theoretically around track we don't think it is, because some of the upgrades choices they had. But Kenny is a good driver. We saw this in Super Cup last season. Is that he can pull a decent result out of the car, so I think he'll be one to watch inside the top 10.
Definitely. One of the Red Archers is round. That was, I think, Tommy Hagen, who is making his first start this year in Super League, if I remember rightly. We've also got another guy who is starting out. We've got Tom Jacobs in the Nord Zone. He's currently 13th, 2.5 off of pole at the moment, just crossing the line, as Tommy Covenant goes 21st for Green Stripes. So currently your top 10 is Lewis Redshaw, still up on top. The only person to dip under the 130 is ahead of Gergabaldi, Nick Rowland, Lee Morris, Kenny Lybeer, Augustin Canapino, as Morris goes up into 2nd position. Then it's very pleased to be Tom van der Voort, right behind his teammate Boyd Bryson for Phoenix. Phoenix again are a team that are looking like they've really improved again, with Davidus Missilis rounding out the top 10 for Red Archer, and he was fastest in practice.
Yes, I'm going to say that Giuseppe Ranieri currently sitting down in 24th at the moment. He's on his outlap and going very, very slow with it. Indeed, trying to find him some nice, very, very clear track to push himself forward and possibly up into the front row, I reckon. At least possibly pole position there. But
that chicane that he's just gone through, so many people take different lines through there. How do you attack that corner? Because it can kick you on the entry and on the exit.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that is why this track can be so complicated, because you can't see the apex at all for the second part of that chicane. It's completely it's down a hill, and so you can't really see it. You've got to trust that you know where it is and that the car is going to go where you want it to go. It's just a really, really difficult corner. It's all about car placement before you go down the hill, and then just having hope whilst going down it.
Having hope might be something that Peter Kazal will do very shortly. Down 20 seconds, 3.5 seconds off. He's on the prime tyre though, as is Jim Paresis in the other Torrent in 16th, who's spun round actually and is currently in the gravel. So that's not great for the TMO drivers, but they're the exception. Every other driver is currently on the option tyres, those who have gone with prime, and we saw this kind of play out for them a little bit in, I think it was Malaysia.
Yeah.
But they decided to go for a different strategy because the actual car may not be there in terms of pace. So we'll see how that one works out.
Indeed, it's
always
goes fastest. I was going to say, always the alternate strategy is something interesting to look at, because especially if your car's not fully up to scratch, you might want to play a bit with strategy and hope that it works out. Yes, David Fight going up into P1 on a 29.0. However, Giuseppe Ranieri currently 300ths up in the first sector.
Indeed, that's his first proper lap in anger, although it's his third lap actually out on the track itself, coming up to just past halfway on the qualifying session, 7.5 minutes to go. That double left-hander, oh my god, bane of so many people's lives. Ranieri locking up into it, but I don't think you can really get round it without doing so.
No, that's turn 9 and 10. It's not an easy corner. It's your fronts will lock, your rears will lock, anything will lock. It'll not be good. Finding a right balance with the car is absolutely crucial through there, and he did do it quite wrong. He made a bit of a mistake through there, and it has cost him time. He is currently a 10th down after that sector.
Giuseppe with it all to do as he comes down to the final corner, so careful not to overshoot and run out too wide onto that exit curb, because the longer you're on the curb, the less of acceleration you can get as he crosses over the line. Giuseppe does go second, splits the CSGs for not the first time this year, but that will be very much to David Fidek's liking, because he's on top at the moment. And it's Ranieri, Redshaw, Morris, Baldy, Easterbeek is ahead of Nick Rowland. Then it's Kenny Lybeer, still in 8th for Vodball, great stuff. Canapino 9th for Nordzone, that I think will give them cause for cheer. With Tom Vandervoort 10th in the second of the Nijos. Then it's Boyd Bryson, Missilis, Kieran Ryan in 13th. That's that. I've not seen him qualify in the top half of the field ever, I think. Well, certainly in the last 2 years. Then Morton Vernonson, Mindegas Columbus back in the target. Good to see Mindegas back in. Then Tommy Hagan in the other Red Archer. I thought they'd be a bit faster so far. Harley Hamnet in the Hawkeye back on that team after missing out due to internet problems last race. Then it's Paresis, Schroten with internet issues. Tom Jacobs on his debut 20th. Danny Asbury 21st. Tim Marler's 22nd. Sam Miller 23rd. Ed of Peter Kaza 24. Jordan Weeks 25. Struggling again there in the target, especially when you consider that his teammate is, well, a lot higher up. And then the STs are really struggling. Mark Fuller 27th has just been off the track. Calvin Hermsey looks like again he's not going to set a qualifying time. That team really struggling for money. I think they're just trying to save as many laps as they can.
Yeah, Giuseppe Ranieri was 2 tenths up and went off on the final turn. As you say, the understeer that you get through that turn, it's kind of like, you may have a really pointy car throughout most of the lap, but as soon as you come to that final turn, the car's like, nope, we'll understeer here. Cheers, thanks. And then you get on the throttle and then it oversteers. It's just a awkward corner. It's the final one.
Indeed. In fact, I think the Midnights are looking like they're going to try some kind of slipstreaming action as they've gone out of the pits together. Ranieri ahead of Roland, trying to get one up in front of the other. Fiduk, a bit leery on exit from his hot lap into the double left-hander. But yeah, looking like he's on all full throttle. Actually, as the Midnights completely abandoned turn one altogether, it must be quite difficult actually to get all the way round turn one without. Could you exit the pits right onto the racing line? You have to be very, very careful on that.
Yeah, you got to be careful, especially when you got loads of people doing hot laps. I think I just saw Lee Morris improved. He's now within a second of pole. He's still in fourth though, which just shows how fast those CSGs and that Midnight is when they're all within 3/10 of each other. Well, you know, excluding Nick Rowland, who's currently in seventh. But the top three within 3/10 of each other. But then it's 7/10 back as Fiduk improves to a 28.795. Good lap.
Does indeed. Morten Vernonson's gone up to 12th in the Vodball Racing. I think we'd be delighted with that. He's definitely never been that high on the grid before. So we'll keep an eye out for those. Great to see some different teams and some different names coming to the fore. And who was that in trouble in the background? It was a Nord Zone and...
Possibly Jacobs.
Yeah. Oh no, it's Canapino. All is good. So, not to panic. Wasn't on the hat lap. He was just making a real meal of getting out of the way of everyone.
Yeah, Canapino's one that you look at him Super Cup last season and for at least one round, he really brought it to Giuseppe Ranieri, which was Japan, where he won that one. Obviously, he won in Abu Dhabi as well, but that was down to penalties post-race with cutting. So, Augustin Canapino, one of these drivers that can fight up there. So that just shows the level of difference between the Nordchen and the Midnight at the moment, and how far back that Nordchen actually is.
Indeed, Jordan Weeks improved to 22nd, leapfrog Sam Miller and Mikhail Tsumala. Still, though, in fact, I can't see where the other... it's because Columbus has left the game for a second, but he's still a good 7 positions behind his teammate. Elsewhere, someone else has improved, and it's Davidas Misalis, who's gone up to 11th for the Red Archer, and that's pushed Tom Vandervoort down to 12th in the Nijo, and he just needs to improve another 10th or so. That'll push him back up into the top 10. As you said earlier on, the top 3 so far clear, and then everyone else seems to be in a right cluster.
Yeah, I just thought that Danny Asbury improved into 17th position in the Woods. Those two, as in the two at Woods, Danny Asbury and Roy Schrein, they've been sort of a mixed bag, really, with Danny Asbury qualifying higher than Roy by quite a way, I think, from memory in Australia, and then Roy doing the same thing backwards, Roy out qualifying Danny Asbury by quite a lot in Malaysia. So I wonder how those two will play out against each other. Whether they'll push themselves up into the points.
Well, Sam Miller's day is done. He is pulled off at the side of the road just after completing his hot lap, which improved his time but not his position. Stays 23rd in the Kerr now, but sadly a good 2 or so seconds behind Lee Morris's teammate. So big old gap there between your teammates.
Just saw that Nick Rowland improved up into 5th. Good shout. I remember he had a penalty last time, which I believe was a big time penalty because he couldn't. I distinctly remember being told that he had a problem with his keyboard and he couldn't do anything in the pit lanes. Like, he couldn't change his tyres, remember that. So he got a penalty because he couldn't run both the option and the prime compound, which obviously, as a rule in GPVWC, you have to run both compounds of tyre within the race, both the options and the primes, unless it rains. He's interesting.
Tommy Covenan's just binned it out of the double left-hander, and that ends his day right the way down in 25th. Green Stripes and ST, to be fair, really, really struggling here so far. And we're just coming into the final laps now. It's still fired up from Ranieri, Redshaw, Morris, Roland, Boldy, Heasterbeek, Liebeer, Canapino and Misalis, your top 10 at the moment. Several of them are out on hot laps. Are any of them going to improve? Because some of them just literally need to improve a 10th or so, and they will leapfrog 2 or 3 positions. However, I think Heasterbeek may well end up slightly bulked by Mikhail Tsumala. Indeed, he is down into the final turn. See the 7th position for Heasterbeek, and Tsumala is on a hot lap, and that has ruined it.
Nick Rowland up into 4th position. Good lap. good lap. That was he's the first one to take the checkered flag at the moment, is Nick Rowland. And up to fourth. I don't think Lee Morris is going to improve on his lap at the moment.
Canapino improves in time, but not in position. Stays ninth.
Oh! Giuseppe Ranieri just spun, so he's not going to improve. So it is looking like it's going to be pole for David Freilich.
That's an interesting place to spin, because it's one of those places where you want to take all of the curb on the outside, but you don't want to really. It's always inviting, because you're just thinking, I can go up the gear a little bit earlier if I just go a little bit wider. But it has bitten Giuseppe on the bum, and sadly that is sloppy joes for him. Anyone else out there?
Fidek is, he's 6 thousandths up, and he may improve, I don't know. I think Danny Asbury cost him a little bit of time, just 12 thousandths off. I wonder where Redshaw's going to go. Can Redshaw improve? He's half a second down now, he's not going to improve. So, it looks like we've got a CSG pole position for the second time this season.
It is, and it's Fidek ahead of Redshaw. Again, as Redshaw pops into the pits, and I think that is pretty much everyone done. Boldy is side lap, in lap. So he's diddly done, and as the last couple of people cross over the line, I think it's safe to assume David Fidek then pole position for CSG, a 1:28.795. Ahead of Giuseppe Ranieri for midnight. Then it's their teammates Lewis Redshaw and Nick Rowland 3 and 4 respectively. Lee Morris, a sterling effort for Kernow to get into 5th, ahead of Gerger Boldy for Hawkeye in 6th. Nijo's Ruud Heesterbeek in 7th. Vodball's Kenny Lai Beer in 8th position. I think we'd be delighted with that. Norge Zones, Augustin Canapino 9. Then a Red Archer in 10th in Davidas Massilis. Phoenix F1 and then in 11th for Boyd Bryson. What an absolute cluster of different teams, all like from 5th to 11th. That's really interesting to know. And I think you could throw a Torrent in there if they were on the option tyres as opposed to the primes. So that, I think, shows the competitive nature of the field behind the leading duos.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. I'm quite proud to see the Phoenixes up that far, and both qualifying within the top 15. That's good job from them. And that lap from Kenny to put up to 8th, good job. But seriously, big shout out to David Fidek with that pole time. I came into this expecting that Giuseppe Ranieri was going to get pole and run away with it, and la-di-da all the way to the checkered flag. But David Fidek's showing that ain't going to happen.
It's an interesting one. I know of a few people that were chatting prior to this race about little hopes and dreams that they'd had. And a little birdie had told me that they didn't expect many people to be on the lead lap by the time this race comes to an end. It's much closer than that, I think. But I think it'll be very, very interesting indeed as we move into the warm-up session where they just do their last-minute preps of things. Let's take you through the championship standings as they are as we enter into the Bahrainian GP here at GPVWC. Lewis Redshaw leads the Drivers' Championship with 45 points, ahead of David Fidek, his teammate, on 32. Ruud Heesterbeek is third with 32 points. Then Giuseppe Ranieri, fourth with 29. Gap back to Jim Parisis in 21 points with 5th position. Lee Morris on 6th. Ahead of Tom Vandervoort, Nick Rowland, Mindergaus Columbus and Petter Kaza rounding out your top 10, with Jason Muscat, who's not here today, on 10 points in 11th position. In your constructors, it is CSG on 81, nearly double second position with Nijo. Midnight Motorsports is in third with 40. Torrent Motorsports with 35 points is in 4th position. Kernow on 21 is in 5th. Ahead of Red Archer, Virtual Racing Team in 6th, Target in 7th, equal on points with Nordzone, but with a better result. Then it's Phoenix F1 in 9th, Hawkeye down in 10th, with Roods and Vodball scoring just ST and Green Stripes yet to get off the board.
Yeah, Hawkeye. That's another interesting story with those. They've got they got a couple of strong drivers, obviously with Gergo Bowdy, a very strong open wheel driver, and the car was good last season, obviously with Redshaw taking pole position in Abu Dhabi. So that car has gone back a long way, has the Hawkeye. And it's kind of like, are they holding back? Do they not have enough money to spend on the car? I don't know, but either way, they're not where they should be.
No, and Boldy's yet to finish, I think.
Yeah,
which is
I
also
think he hasn't finished a race.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just a little bit odd. You know, when you look at their position, I think they've got to step it up a bit.
Definitely, and especially when you think that actually Vod Ball are here with Liberia in 8th and Morton Vernonson in 12th, kind of thinking that they have the chance to leapfrog them when they're only 2 points behind in the actual championship themselves. So Hawkeye could fall
Indeed.
outside the top 10 potentially today if things don't go Bold's way.
Indeed. So we'll all have to wait and see how that goes. Obviously, we've got the race coming up in just over a minute and a half.
Predictions?
Smithy, yes, I was going to say, who is your prediction for the race win today?
Oh no, don't turn that on me. I just like to blither.
I've got to turn it on you.
Well, was what Roland was doing in the pits there, but that wasn't quite what he was meant to do. I think it will be a lot closer than everyone thinks.
Yeah?
But it will still be a CSG or Ranieri that will win.
Yeah, it's
I'll
very
play
vague.
it safe.
I'll go for something really, really specific then. Sure, why
Okay,
not?
do it.
I reckon Giuseppe Ranieri will win it between 5 and 10 seconds.
Wow,
that's specific.
that is. Any other random predictions?
No. We'll have 4 DNFs. Sure, why not? Random number, pluck.
I think it will rain.
Really?
Actually, Mr. Meloish in the ear was just saying, I think it will rain. I think it will rain. I also think that Baldy will get his first finish. I also think that we will have a top 10 for either a Nord Zone or a Vodball. Their firsts, really.
Mm-hmm.
Their first. Fair.
No,
that is a good point, actually, that cameraman extraordinaire Simon Melucia just said. Third race in, we may well have some engine blow-ups.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel leave the grid now.
Off the grid, everyone. We've only had one so far, and that was Jordan Weeks back in Australia. just detonating early,
It's Sven de Vries, I think it was actually, yeah.
Sven de Vries, sorry.
For ST, because they blew an engine. I think it was on the last lap as well.
Yeah.
Which was very, very unfortunate. But, third round, are we going to have a third different winner in a row?
Ooh, going all F1 2012, that is. So, 57 laps of high-octane action. I always thought it was 6 round here, I don't know why. But David Fiduk then leads us round on the formation lap. Don't forget he is on the racing line as well, the variable grip racing line. That may take it into account something. For CSG, Giuseppe Ranieri second, then for Simcraft Midnight Motorsports. Their teammates in third and fourth for Lewis Redshaw and Nick Rowland. All of these on the option tyres so far. Lee Morris on fifth for Kerno. Then Gurgo Baldi 6th for Hawkeye. Rude Husterbeek 7th for Nijo. Kenny Liebeer 8th for Rodball. 9th for Augustine Canapino for Nord Zone Racing, with Davidus Missilis 10th for Red Archer VRT. Boyd Bryson is in 11th. Something's happened to Sam Miller. But he's in 11th for Phoenix, ahead of Morton Vernonson 12th for Vodball Racing. Tom van der Voort down in 13th for Nijo, not great for him. And Kieran Ryan for 14th on the top half of the grid for Phoenix. Well done, Kieran.
Indeed. Well done. Good shout. Yeah, that's an interesting top 14. And for the rest of the grid, you've got Columbus for Target in 15th, Hagen in 16th, Hamnet, then Asbury put himself in the top 20, Paresis obviously qualifying on the Prime compound tyre for Torrent, and Roy Schroten making it 2 Woods in the top 20. Thomas Jacobs on debut is in 21st position for Nordschent. Petter Carter, the other Torrent on the Prime compound tyre. Then it's Jordan Weeks, Mikael Chimala, Sam Miller, Tommy Koivunen, Mark Fuller and Calvin Hermser, the STs, and at the back of the grid.
Hermser did not set a time once again in qualifying, and I find it strange that he's also starting on the option tyre, because you just think, actually, I've got nothing to lose in that ST at the back, let's try something different and go on the old primes, because whilst everyone's busy crashing into each other, you're not losing quite as much time on a slower tyre. But that's maybe just my view on the world. Coming around onto the formation now, and
I'm liking these R rolling that you're doing.
I know. It's because it's Bahrain.
It's good. It's good. I can't do it. It just sounds really dumb when I try. And no, I'm not going to try.
You can. Oh, I've heard your tongue action's quite good.
Oh.
It's got a rep. It's got a rep. A reputation. So, that makes more sense, Ryan Walker. Thank you for that tweet. I hope Woods Racing does well and scores a point for Oscar the dog. But that was not what he typed first time round. Hashtag whoops. Woof. You can tweet us at Satorimon or at GPVWC or use a hashtag as well. We like to hear your comments and actions as they line up onto the grid for the race at Bahrain International Circuit. I'm really conscious of that now. It will stop. It will happen. I'm liking the fact that the Nijo of Heasterbeek is lined up very aggressively. Here come the lights then for the Bahrain Grand Prix here at GPVWC Super League. We are off and away racing. Everyone lights up the tyres. There's a Red Archer smacks the pit lane wall on coming out there. But it's Redshaw's got around Ranieri. Ranieri's got the inside line, but Fidock's already in and through. Ranieri gets back through. There's contact. There's a rear wing off somewhere. And that is a Nijo round. It's Rude Heasterbeek. And Harley Hamlet's involved too.
Nick Rowland's off on the wall. He's out big time.
Oh, dearie me. Massive accident. So Nick Rowland is out. Tom Vandervoort is out. Tom Vandervoort's in trouble. There is problems with Tommy Hagen is round as well. Harley Hamlet's missing a front wing, as is the other Nijo. So disaster for Nijo off the line as Vidoc and Bradshaw go side by side into turn 7 and 8. That will never work. Lee Morris has got round, as has Baldy round Ranieri. He's down to 5th position. Not great from him. Then it's Missilis, Canapino, Vernonson, Schroten and Libeer. Your top 10. Schroten in 9th.
Yeah,
Woods. That's a delightful start.
From 20th to 9th.
Baldy's off. Baldy hit the back of Morris, through goes Ranieri, and that's one place recovered already, and that's really helped him out actually, because down to 5th at the start, that was never good, as Libeer overtakes Schroten for 9th and 10th positions. But the damage is already done for Nick Rowland out, Harley Hamnet in trouble, Tom Vandervoort's got no rear wing, and Ruud Heasterbeek no front wing, and that's... Oh, and Boyd Bryson as well, after such a great effort in quali. So real issues as they come around to start lap 1.
Yeah, Ruud Heasterbeek there. That is 3rd in the championship, and the winner last time out really not having the best start to the day. Lee Morris is going to try and keep with the 2 CSGs at the front, but whether he can or not is going to be a different matter. I think those two may streak off a bit, and whether Giuseppe Ranieri can get past Lee Morris, that is the important thing, and that will be important for the race win. Lewis Roger having a little look at his teammate, but not quite getting his way through.
All the action happening in the pits. In is Coven and Bryson. Heasterbeek, Vandervoort is still trying to get round. Harley Hamnet has pulled off and retired to join Rowland. So definitely 2 out. The other 4 are trying to get into the pits. Just rounding out your point scorers then, because there's some real movers and shakers. After Schroten in 10th, it was Columbus 11, Weeks into 12th, Asbury to 13, Paresis into the points in 14th, and Tumala 15th, with debutant Thomas Jacobs just outside in 16th. And it's looking quite chocker after the main couple of drivers, and already a massive field spread of over 20 seconds between 1st to 20th.
Yeah, if Jacobs can score points on debut, that would be very good for him and for Nordschent. Especially considering I heard that he was replacing him, I think it's yesterday I first heard it, or a couple of days ago. So, it's not really too long that he's had to get used to the car.
No, Libeer needs to get past Vernonson. Vernonson is not quite as fast, and I think he's coming up behind in the battle for 8th and 9th. They got Canapino up ahead in the sister of Jacobs, Nordzone's car, as they come round. Oh,
P3.
Good call. Down the outside of Morris. Can he hold it?
Yep, can indeed. So Giuseppe Ranieri has been released to try and catch up to the 2 CSGs. Leading away currently by just over, yes, the R rolling, yes, stop rubbing it in because I can't do it.
Oh, can you lick your elbow?
No, I'm not that talented.
Paresis under attack from Tumala, but he's retaken the position for 14th. You can go down the outside there. I done it and was amazed with myself. A bit like the one overtake I've ever done in my life. It's not an Nijo on the side of the track. It's Vandervoort gradually moving himself back onto the race again. He came out right in front of the leaders, just letting everyone through rather gentlemanly like. But we still have Fidek ahead of Redshaw, Ranieri, Morris, Boldy, Missilis, Canapino, Lybeer has got round Vernonson, Schroten, Clumbis, Weeks, Asbury, who's having a go at Weeks, and I think, is that Weeks going to run off wide? No, he just about recovers it and stays in 12th and 13th. Paresis, and then Kieran Ryan has got round Tumala for the final points paying position as he recovers from his start.
Yeah, the Torrance of Jim Paresis has made some pretty decent progress up the field. However, has just gone off onto the curb, so I won't comment on him because apparently gives him some very bad luck. But it's nice to see that both of the Vodballs, which I see Kenny Lee Bear has just gotten past Augustine Canapino on the straight.
Didn't even need to brake for the corner, did he?
No,
Great
just
stuff by them.
Straight past. Clearly
Vodball.
wing difference.
Behind as well, Schroten's under attack from Columbus and gets the position back again under braking. Weeks and Asbury come back into wheel contact though down at turn 1 for 12th and 13th. Has that been... Oh, I thought we'd spun Weeks round there. Two hot-headed racers, and look at Jordan. That's an interesting move. Some may call that weaving, but if you continue weaving like that across the track, I think you'll end yourself up with a nice woolly jumper by the end of it. Paresis just about has also been overtaken by Kieran Ryan just behind them as well, so plenty of action down the lower end of the points.
Yeah, my biggest interest at the moment is what's happening up towards the front of the field with Giuseppe Ranieri and Lewis Redshaw mainly, as to how much Ranieri is catching Redshaw and noting the fact that it is not much. There you go. It's gone up a little bit. So these CSGs are really putting themselves together.
And Ranieri actually seems to be doing this little hair flick on the exit of some of the corners, which means that he's putting down the power and it's not quite gripping straight on a straight line. And it seems to be like he's having a couple of goes at it.
The Magnussen, that's a good shout, yeah, cameraman, yeah. Good shout. But, the thing is when you're sliding out of a corner, you're using a lot of the energy of the car to move yourself sort of sideways and not forward. So it's, just really counterproductive to you. Moving forward, however, in that last sector, I think he closed up about 2 or 3 tenths to the back of Redshaw.
Look at this 12, 13, 14. It's Weeks, Asbury and Kieran Ryan 3 into 1. That kind of found itself back out again, but I was a bit worried because all of those 3 are the 3 that you would not want to go into a corner side by side with. Petter Kaza has just overtaken Sam Miller for 17th and 18th, and Sumala's having a go at
Asbury
Paresis.
Going through for 11th. Is he through? Oh, 12th even. No, not quite through at the moment.
Oh, side by side. That's never going to work.
No, we did notice this in the Super Cup and even in Form Challenges that people were going, 2 and 3 wide quite a lot of the time. Yeah, Kieran has a bit dodgy.
That was a good. I said that was opportunistic racing
Yes.
in a beautiful way. But Ryan goes...
Oh, Jordan Weeks around!
Oh, dearie me. Was that helped or was that on his own? Tumala there.
It was a bit of help.
Tumala goes skimping through. That's like he was doing the slalom run. Gets around Kieran Ryan, comes back on Asbury. Asbury's going to pump him off though, because that is Danny's usual tactic. Sometimes, sadly. We love you, Danny, but yes. You got good problems, and Kieran Ryan now seems to be a bit flustered in it all. Tumala now looks like he's going to have a go, and that Green Stripes Racing could well get them off the scoreboard if he continues
But Jim
on
Paresis
like
is coming
this.
through as well.
3 wide nearly down into the final turn, and someone's completely missed the end there. That was Casa, wasn't it? So the TMOs struggling as Roy Schroten for 10th position is being taken by Columbus.
Yeah, but still still has a bit of a slide from Roy. It's nice to see that Woods is
though.
in the top 10.
It is. Don't say it. Don't say it. The Woods curse.
Sorry. Yeah, right. That's it. The rest of the broadcast, no more Woods.
Okay. I don't want you getting Woods on the broadcast. Oh, as Tumala, that was a bit uncalled for on Kieran, as the battle for 13th and 14th becomes like handbags at dawn. Proper bitch slaps going on, and that's going to be side by side again into the chicane, but Ryan chops across. And that time I think actually he was quite right to do so. Tumala slapped back down like a naughty spaniel puppy.
Jim Paresis giving. Yeah, it was a bit of a knock for Paresis, however he did slow down.
And to be fair, actually, for poor old Jimmy boy, that's worked out worse. I think he was slowing down to like not avoid contact, but through went Casa, Miller and Hagen. And Tom Vandervoort is a lap behind, so don't worry about him. But down now to 18th position for Jim, lap into the points for Casa.
Okay.
Oh.
So, oh.
Sorry, I was just surprised that Lee Morris has been caught by Boldy for 4 and 5.
Yeah, sorry, Chimala just had a really big moment coming out of turn 11. A nice slide up the hill.
The Boldy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, tell us what was just being told to us as we watch Boldy and Morris going at it hammer and tongs at the end of... Oh, let's wait for this actually, because Boldy's having a good go for it side by side out of the exit. There's a grip for both, but can they make it round the chicane together? I tell you what, that is gentlemanly driving from the pair of them. They know how to race. Morris comes out ahead in 4th position. Boldy on the curbs, but Lee Morris holds it for now. What is the breaking news, Mr. McGlade?
Right, so with the CSG of David Fidek, our current race leader, I did notice it on the start down to turn 1. Chequered Ranieri went into the side of David Fidek, and that has caused damage to Fidek's car, meaning that his engine's running 20 degrees too hot, which, you know, when we're running the engines that we are and how it's, you know, it's carrying wherever it's... That's not good. That is not good for the engine, so they're not really sure if it's going to last until the end of the race.
No, bad times for them. So they'll be... What can you do to deal with that as Paresis, Miller and Hagen nearly take all each other out, as Mark Fuller and Tom Jacobs battle for 19th and 20th positions side by side as well. So it's all kicking off just towards the bottom end of the top 20. But
yeah,
how can you avoid that?
Jacobs has dropped off the dropped off from P16, I think it was last time. But yeah, to call the car, really, there is nothing more that Fidek can do other than what he's doing. You know, just if he was battling with someone, then obviously it's stay out of behind the car, stay out of the slipstream, because then you're not cooling your engine through the radiators on the side, through the side pods. It's not going to work as much. So really, there's nothing Fidek can do except really hope for the best and not spin, because spinning, you know, your engine, you know, you're not getting any air into the car. That would really kill it.
Would indeed. They're just Tommy Kovanen being lapped there by Fidek. He's still got 2.8 seconds over Lewis Redshaw. Ranieri's keeping with them 4.7 back. Then it's Lee Morris who's still ahead of Gergo Boldy. Boldy is certainly not given up on that. They're having a good old battle hammer and tongs, but that's dropping them away because they're busy focusing on each other as opposed to the battle ahead. Missilis doing a great job for Red Archer up in 6th position, as is Kenny Liberian in 7th, who stalked him right down actually. That's a battle waiting to happen. Then it's Canapino, who's still ahead of Morten Vernonson, but Vernonson is closing him down too. Columbus is 10. He's got round Roy Schroten for 11. Kieran Ryan's in 12th, looking like he's desperate to bin it, actually. 13th is Danny Asbury. Then it's 14th is Casa, holding off Tumala and Hagen. Paresis is battling with Sam Miller. Mark Fuller is still going side by side with Chum Jacobs in the battle for 19 and 20th. Apparently Jacobs and Ryan had a coming together, which Jacobs came out worse on. And I think Jacobs is just about to take Fuller. No, Fuller hangs on around the outside, but it swings in a Nordzone's favour. Weeks is recovering in 21st. Then Heasterbeek, Bryson, Kovanen and Calvin Herms has just retired.
Yeah, it's been not a good day for some, such as Tom Vandervoort down in 26th position. And I don't know if he's really going to pull his way back from that. But yeah, it's not been a good day for some. Some are on a big recovery drive, as is Ruud Heasterbeek in 22nd position, trying to pull his way back into the points. And damage limitation for him at the moment, as he is sitting third in the championship. Probably won't be after this.
Boyd Bryson's car is lagging through the track, so I hope that doesn't cause any problems for anyone. But Kenny Libeer had his first good stab, actually, at Missilis. But didn't quite come off, but it was his first proper I'm going to go for it. So he's clearly primed and tickled and ready for action, as is Boldy still on Morris. It's only battles. I'm going to go cross-eyed trying to keep up.
Yeah, we're having quite a nice little duel fest from quite a few people throughout the grid, and obviously not too long into the race. It'll be 9 laps done as David Fidek will cross the line this time. But I'm feeling sorry for David in that car at the moment, because he's just going to be sitting there going, I hope this engine is going to pull through, because he is lapping at a really nice pace and gapping his teammate Redshaw behind, and Giuseppe Ranieri behind that. So so good drive so far at the moment for Fidek. It's just, can that car hold out? Apparently P4, yes, indeed, Gergo Boldy Lee Morris.
Again, Boldy having one of those little looks, but I think he feels like he's going to have a much better go down into turn 4. Goes to the inside. Can he have a go? This is where he had a go last time. Morris, there is grip on the outside to just hold on if you can, and Boldy's the one that's looking like he's squeamished on the exit of that corner. He just needs to be able to kind of ping that all up together and hope that that lasts and not break over the curb, because he's done that 2 laps running now, and that's never going to hold you well. Not that double left-hander, unless you're very, very brave, really helps you. Just randomly, on that Hawkeye sponsorship side thing, it says Gene Rally 2. If that really is true, I hope that's a sequel to the awesome Gene Rally game.
Well, maybe we can...
Someone let us know from Hawkeye,
maybe we can
please.
search one up in a bit, yes.
Libier's past Missilis, though.
Oh, yes.
6th and 7th. Great stuff by Kenny Libier. And there's Boldy off because Morris is in trouble.
I think he just had the graphics lockup that we've seen him do a couple of times actually this season so far, where he has a graphics lockup that costs him quite a bit of time. So yeah, I mean, I used to have that in the ITC a lot. I'd be running in such a lovely position, and then damn,
not such a lovely position by the time it comes back.
Yeah.
Like,
you just got to hope that it happens on a straight. You know, you don't want it going through turn 9 and 10 and then have a graphics lockup, and then it's just kind of like, oh. Damn.
Exactly. Tommy A. Hagen has just done a beautiful move on Petter Kassa into the second last turn, but I think Kassa's going to try and get him back down into the final one. My advice would be stay behind and do it down into 1 if you can. And he's booked out from it, but unfortunately that's left him prey for Mikhail Tumala. Tommy Hagen in the Red Archer, proving that he is doing a little bit better in the race compared to what he was doing in the El Quali session. And is Tumala going to pull out and have a go in that green stripes? He's just one. You can see that final point right ahead. Kassa obviously on the prime tyres going longer than what the rest of this field are going to be doing. But I think the Torrents would much rather have been having a little bit of a clearer run so that they could go longer into the race with those slower tyres if they could.
Yeah, it's not really helping their strategy, is it?
No, not at all. Also, quite interestingly, he's to beacon Boyd Bryson. They've both been in for front wing changes, and they're both battling over 22nd and 23rd, and that's a bit of a fall for grace for Nijo, the only car that's running, but the fact that he can't pull away from that Phoenix is really quite interesting. Oh, it is a sequel, thanks. Boosh.
Yeah, I think I saw something on Facebook about it a couple of days ago.
I love Gene Rally. I used to run a league and everything for that. Back in the day. That was my kind of sim racing. He played on the arrow keys. What more could be wrong? Or right with that? Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
I never used to do racing games in the arrow keys when I was racing on the keyboard. Nope. I was the weird kid.
He wasn't a WASD guy.
I wasn't technically a WASD guy, no. I was a really, really weird kid. I used to use forward on the directional key and then A and D to steer the car because I didn't like sitting there with one hand doing nothing.
Oh, that must mean you're a left-handed moose.
I'm not left-handed moose, no.
That makes you doubly weird and even more confusing as Schroeton goes past. Gets passed by Kieran Ryan for 11th position. But yeah, that is doubly cross-eyed fingered.
I'm not ambidextrous either because that's a far too long word for me.
To get a thesaurus for that one, I'm sure it just means that you can wank with both hands. Ryan then ahead of Schroeton now. Schroeton was having a good dive back through on turn 4, but the Phoenix F1 driver now into 11th position. Hagen did stay ahead of Kassa after all of that. Tumala is still behind with Paresis in 17. Then Miller, Jacobs and Weeks have both got round Mark Fuller, who is still the leading ST driver, with Heasterbeek and Bryson and Covenant still going, as is Vandervoort. So it's just the 3 retirements of Roland, Hamnet and Herms. And I'll tell you what, Calvin does not, if he was being paid per laps that he done, I don't think he'd be paid very much this season. Not a great start to their 2014.
No, it's not been a great start for 2014 for a few drivers. However, for others, noting CSG being the prime example of this, it's been an absolutely fantastic start. And they're also running 1-2. David Feilich is still going at the front, but how long for? It's kind of, you know, when 2012, speaking of going back to 2012, for the second time in this broadcast, when Sebastian Vettel had a lovely little crash in Interlagos.
Yes.
But, you know, that would have given him some radiator damage, and he kept going until the end of the race. Obviously, we're talking of a modern game, so maybe that might not happen. But there can be hope. There can be hope.
Haha. Well, we shall soon see. It's a bit like ticking time bomb.
Wow.
Never even had drugs. As Miller dives through and retakes 18th from Tom Jacobs, who was trying to yoink it from him. Kerno versus Nord Zone. Sadly, both of them way behind their fellow compatriots. Lee Morris so far has lapped his teammate Sam Miller at every race.
Yeah.
So far this season, I think Sam would be quite keen to not have that happen again. However, on lap 13 of 57, he is currently 39 seconds behind his teammates, so it's looking quite likely.
Yeah, it's a really split team, is that one, with Lee Morris, who is generally a pretty quick driver. I think we saw that last time out. He didn't have the best car in the world, let's be honest, and brought it home in a decent position, albeit with a lot of knocking on the previous level. Sam Miller's round.
He is.
We were just talking. That is the curse of the commentator right then. Really sorry, Sam.
It is. But for someone who is, he's now down in 20th position, so that's released Jacobs and Weeks actually, who's desperately trying to get himself back up into the points for that target car. Remember, his teammate Mindegas Columbus is running in 10th, some 20 seconds further up the road. It must be very difficult when you've got a teammate who is well known for being quick. You're trying to get yourself back into the fold of racing here again. You've not done it for a little while. And you come along and you're over 2 seconds off in qualifying. You're being lapped by your teammate in the race. How do you kind of keep your head going with that? Because it must be like a constant down smash every time.
Yeah. It's all about communication with the team and what the team's actually wanting from you and what... sometimes it's nice in that situation just to sit down and talk with your teammate and just, try and get an understanding as to what you're doing wrong and what they're doing right and how you can improve. So he needs to just sit down with Lee at one point and just go through what he's doing. And yeah, that's really it. He's got to just learn from his teammate and what his teammate's doing. And that'll be the biggest help for Sam. Sam's so slidey in that car, though. Those tyres have just completely overheated. I think we were talking about this yesterday in the Super Cup with the thermal degradation of the tyres. It's after that spin, they've just gone.
Wow.
Garibaldi has been in the pits, yes.
Yes. I was going to say, talking of the tyres, he stayed on the option compound. So he's clearly doing I'll save the primes till the end. Our prime users are 15th and 16th in terms of that. And he's come out right behind Augustin Canapino, so he's got to immediately start on with that. But importantly, ahead of the Columbus and Ryan battle for 10th, as Tommy Hagen is into the pits, as is Mikhail Tumala. So clearly, lap 15 of the 57, they're splitting it relatively equally, as Tommy Kovanen has pulled out of the race for Green Stripes.
Yeah, I think it's looking like a solid 2-stop for quite a lot of the drivers. Some maybe a 3 who are pitting this early. You may have to go option, and then option the prime. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I think for quite a lot of drivers, especially at the front, you'll be looking at a 2-stop strategy: option, prime, or prime, whichever way they want to take their fancy. One thing to point out at the moment is Lewis Redshaw's gap to Giuseppe Ranieri. It's under a second now. However,
crikey,
he is nearly 6 seconds off of his teammate.
He is. I wonder if he's trying to back Ranieri up a little bit in the hope that he'll be able to do something about it. But Ranieri kind of locked his brakes into turn 1 as if to say, I'm gumming for you a little bit, which is a bit of a worry for him. Also a bit of a worry, I think, for Garibaldi is the fact that he's not been able to get past Canapino, and with Lee Morris in this lap,
pits, yep.
He could very well try and half leapfrog the guy. As Morris comes trinkling down the start-finish straight, he's going to be released right into... No, he's not going to do that at all, Simon. Shut up. Canapino's well through. As is Baldy. Morris rejoins just ahead of the Columbus. Is he going to spook him? And Kieran Ryan takes advantage. Pushes Columbus out nice and wide, and Kieran Ryan takes the position for 10th. And that was a bit of daredevil stuff, but good opportunistic moves from Kieran Ryan. Both Woods into the points. Oh dear, now I've said it.
Yeah. I was looking at that going, oh look, those Woods are running in 12th and 13th. I was like, oh, I can't bring that up in the broadcast.
Don't say it. What we'll do is we'll sign every time a Woods Racing car is Muppets it. Milk Woods Racing. Cookie.
How wonderful.
Rachel staying 8 tenths ahead of Ranieri that time by. I wonder if he's just trying to manage it, as that is Canapino and Boldy goes through to take Canapino for 7th and 8th positions. Canapino trying to go around the outside to get back. That would be a brave move if he tries that around the outside. Did the switcheroo for the inside. Ooh, watch your apexes. Nicely done.
Yeah, that was interesting. I think Muscat yesterday was doing a few moves through turn 13 there, which is the one they just Canapino tried putting his nose up the inside for. But yeah, so it's possible to do a move on the inside. I thought Bowdy was going to go straight to the pits. Kieran Ryan, however, has.
As is Missilis, who is just leaving them now. He'll rejoin just behind all of that. But yes, Kieran in from what was 10th, now dropping down the order. As who's that? Oh, it's Tom Vanderbilt trying to unlap himself from people. Good stuff that he's spirited and will keep himself going. Sign of a guy with determination. As Sam Miller finally pops into the pits, although I think if you was his race engineer, you'd have brought him in a couple of laps earlier.
Indeed. Thing is, though, is that for those of you sitting at home who might not know, quite a lot of these drivers won't have any sort of race engineer or anything like that. I think some may have some sort of race engineer or someone helping them out strategy-wise, but quite a lot of them, they'll be working it out as they go on the fly, and it's sometimes quite difficult, especially when you don't have any plugins like GitHub or anything telling you exactly what your tyres are doing. So, to work strategy out can sometimes be pretty difficult in these cars.
Definitely. I mean, as we look down the TeamSpeak channel where we're actually doing this broadcast, the two of us, Mr. Lewis and everyone, each team has its own channel. And when you're sitting in there, Nijo has a team person sitting in there, as does Torren, as does Nordzone. They're like the team bosses. Red Archer have got people in there, Woods, and CSG. For some reason, ST has got James Kirk in there, but there's no drivers in there. So James is clearly just barking orders at himself. I don't even think he's related to the team. He's just sat in there.
Yeah, he's their third driver, and he does their liveries. As well.
Oh, okay. Awesome stuffs. But yes, but with no drivers to shout orders at.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I was just saying that Kenny Lee Bear was
completely messes up turn 1. Oh, Morris and Canapino side by side as well for 6th and 7th. And Canapino is defending from Lee Morris, sliding side by side in. Augustine, that is not maybe your battle mate. Might be later on, perhaps.
He's just having a bit of fun, is Canapino. Also, just as a really quick shout out to Canapino, I think he in real world racing over in the Argentine Super TC, as Morris has gone on the inside.
That was a divey-roo.
Canapino back up the outside, but Canapino got pole position in his real world race of the Argentine, the TC 2000, I think it is. Yeah, he won one of the heats, but didn't win the race.
Amazing! Oh, well done. You learn something every day.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's named after an awesome yogurt-y based sweet.
Oh, was this the main discussion of the ITC for the first couple of rounds? Oh, that's a very good shout. Yes, Ranieri has come out into the pits and has jumped Lewis Redshaw. Both still on the options. So apparently both fixed damage, so that would explain quite a lot as to why they've come out in a different order.
Indeed, as Canapino now does pit as well from his position, that releases Morris out.
Yeah, P2.
Oh, dearie me.
Redshaw,
you don't want more damage.
Yes. Well, Redshaw, the championship leader, is absolutely having none of it. He wants that position back.
Well, I think he wants it so that he can continue to buffer David, because then that allows David to have that kind of drop-off if he needs to. Ranieri goes right defensive, Redshaw goes very aggressive to the inside line. It's not generally the place to overtake if you can help it. And then he'll have to follow him round the very long sweeping corners, maybe have a dive bomb into the second last one if you're feeling desperate. He has a little nose, but that's the curb, and that's not the racing line, and that is going to give Giuseppe Ranieri a big Cheshire Cat grinage, because that releases him start attacking Fiduk, who, if anyone's listened to this broadcast from midnight, will know that he is the weak link in the chain at the moment with that engine issue.
Yeah, so now it's all about what Pepe can do to close up to the back of Fiduk. He's got Mark Fuller up ahead for ST, which we were discussing a little bit earlier. He's going to come up to lap, so Cipriani's got a lot of time to close up. At the moment, I'm going to keep an eye on this gap. 7 seconds flat at the moment.
There's Morton Vernonson pits from 4th position. Delightful stuff there. And we've lost Danny Asbury, who's disconnected by the looks of it. For Woods. So
That's a shame.
Woods curse.
Woods curse. We should never have brought them up in the broadcast.
Okay.
6.6. There you go. Keep an eye on that gap. It came down 4/10 in the first sector.
Columbus in for target from 10th position as Vernonson leaves in what will be 9th. The Torrents are just going through. Is Vernonson going to get out ahead of them? Because it will be vital for him. Oh, side by side with Casa. Is Casa going to go for it? He's got more grip on the tyre because Morton's are cold. And Casa up to 9, Paresis in 11. Vernonson needs to clear that Torrent Motorsport to make sure his strategy works at its premium. Having a straightaway go for it. Don't tag wheels. Thankfully, we're all good.
Yeah, these cars are quite big, to be honest. It's quite easy to clip wheels with each other and have a little bish bash and a bosh. So having a nice spatial awareness is absolutely crucial.
Which to have done, actually, I don't know if any other drivers do it, but I actually raise my helmet view in the car higher because for some reason in my head, even though it doesn't really change very much, I feel like I'm higher up so I can see more. Don't know why.
Well, yeah, you're. I tend to run at a higher FOV, just so I've got a bit more.
That was the posh technical term for it, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just a bit higher FOV, and yeah, I do raise it up a bit. Raise up roof.
Raise me up.
But yeah, no, I raise it up and just probably pull it a bit further back, so just to give myself a better vision as to what the car's actually doing. It's just helpful.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Paris is having a go at Vernonson as Casa comes in, and well, that's the prime tyres, and he's not lasted massively longer than what Vernonson has done on the option. So either Vernonson done a great job as he's just been done now by Jim Paresis, down on the inside. Oh, contact between the two. That's not going to help out either of theirs damage coefficients, sadly. But Vernonson keeps the position now up into 9th and 10th. And I think sometimes you can, if you see someone's being keen and eager, it's better to let them go as they bash wheels for the second time in 3 corners.
Yeah, well, I think we were discussing this yesterday in the Super Cup, that some of these drivers are... It seems as if they believe these cars are touring cars and they have roofs, and they like to just bang wheels. Speaking of cars with roofs and this track, in a week's time on Wednesday, the WSS starts, which is the Porsche the Flat Sixes new championship starting. There will be a live broadcast, so everyone should tune into that as well.
Alright, make sure there's always plenty of action here on GPVWC, plenty of leagues to keep you going. Fiduk's increased the gap by 2 tenths to 6.8 seconds, plus he's got Heasterbeek, Weeks, Miller and Tumala in between them. So Fiduk's done a fair bit of lapping, either that or they've just all come out of the pits and it's really fallen perfectly for Fiduk.
Yeah, I would know he's been lapping very, very quickly throughout this event, has he, even with the damage, which, as I say, this is the thing, is that if that car does blow up, that will be very, very sad because it has been such a good drive so far. I see positions changes because Roy Schroten is into the pits. I also heard from his teammate Danny Asbury, as Jim Paresis pits behind, his teammate Danny Asbury had a game freeze. That's why he is out of the race.
That is a shame. Libeer versus Missilis.
Yes.
For 6th and 7th positions. So Missilis got that position back, I believe, under the pit strategies, and they're both on option tyres again, so Libeer's got to do that position all over again. The highest person on primes is actually Mindergaus Columbus in 11th position for target. Heasterbeek has gone on to the primes, as has Tumala and Tom Vandervoort. So there's a few people doing their primes in their middle stint. Not always a favoured option, as Libeer is favouring the inside line, but not, unfortunately for him, getting 6th.
Indeed. And where else is any other action throughout the field? Just having a quick look. I think Missless and Liebherr are going to be fighting all the way until pretty much the end of the race. They've been at each other's throats for 22 laps now, and you get the feeling that for the remaining 35, they're going to be right there with each other, which is very good. To shout out to Vodball, a very good result for them, especially because this is their first season.
Oh, look at that! Beautifully down the straight. Missilus tries to go for a slipstream and then goes for the inside. That's not the kind of fighting we wanted, and Missilus there having to really back out of it, and that's going to allow Liebherr to pull out a good half-second advantage, and if he can hold that round, that may pull him away from the slipstreaming action and help him out. They're 40 seconds off the leaders at the moment. Quick run through of the order then on lap 23. We're just completing of 57. It's David Fidek leading by 6.9 seconds from Giuseppe Ranieri. Lewis Redshaw is closing him in at the rate of knots in third position. The gap between them was 4 seconds. It's already down to 2. Then we've got Garibaldi in fourth position for Hawkeye, Lee Morris 5 for Kernel, Kenny Liebherr in 6th, David Missilus is on 7th for Red Archer. Bernardson is on 8th for Vodball, 9th is Augustin Canapino in the Nord Zone, and rounding out the top 10 on the options tyre is Phoenix F1's Kieran Ryan, all the top 10 on options. Then Columbus is in 11th ahead of Roy Schroten in 12th, but Columbus is your top and only person in the points on primes. Tommy Hagen is in 13th for Red Archer ahead of Casa and Parisis, who have now switched to the option tyres, and I wonder if they can unleash the beast on some pace. Then in Tom Jacobs and Heasterbeek side by side for 16th and 17th position, and I think Heasterbeek's going to be last of the late breakers and dive through. Indeed he does. Beautifully done there by Heasterbeek, who's on the prime.
Hey. Yeah.
Good call there.
Yeah. They've got to keep an eye on what's going on because Cipriani coming through. It's always good to know that you're dueling with someone and then someone else has come up to lap you. Ooh.
Van Miller in the barriers, 20th position. That was a bizarre spin. See what happened. I think he just caught it. Yes, he power around outside, gently taps the barriers on the rear corner, but he's okay. Keeps his 20th position, but Tumala then up to 18th. Jordan Weeks in 18th, then Tumala 19th, Miller 20th, Bryson 21st, Mark Fuller 22nd, and Tom Vandervoort just leaving the pits again on prime tyres in 23rd position.
Yep, Tommy Hagen and Roy Schroten switching up positions just a little bit for 12th and 13th. Hagen got him at the final turn, Roy got him at the first. So switching positions a couple of times down one straight.
They're going to have another go.
Indeed.
Beautifully done there by Mr. Hagen, who unsettles the Schrotens. If there's anything you want to be settled, it would be your Schrotens, and that's going to allow Tom Vandervoort to try and unlap himself again from these guys. Round the outside, and Schroten gives way essentially to just say, go on, off you go. He's not really in that battle.
Yeah, it's a terrible race so far for Van de Vue there.
Canapino's been caught by Kieran Ryan as well for 9th and 10th.
Yes, he is. Kieran Ryan getting way over that curb. The problem with these curbs is not only are they really slippery, they also quite a lot of them have guttering on the outside, which is just awful. It's really bad. You get one wheel in there and you that's it. You can
like sucks you out, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can just sort of go, right, my race is done here. Cheers. I think we had that yesterday with Matt Rich, who was running in second or third at that point, and just sort of got onto the curb on the outside and just flicked off and tapped the barrier.
Kieran Ryan is about to do the most diviest dive bomb, and it appears to have paid off the way that only Kieran knows how. And they go very defensive down towards turn 4, I think it's called, but it really is turn 3 in my head. Keeps the position just about. Augustin not brave enough to dive one through on the outside. And that's a Phoenix F1 driving up to 9th position, Nord Zone down to 10.
Yeah, well, you said that was turn 4 and it's 3 in your head. Well, you know the final turn, yeah? The final turn is turn 14, but actually there's technically, on the track maps, there's actually a corner after it, which is a slight kink, which you can only really see on the curb.
Yeah.
That technically counts as turn 15, so that's the final turn.
What an absolute Mickey take.
Really? Yeah, but it's all good when we get to Hungaroring and then you have turn 1 and turn 1A or turn 2. Because why not, you know?
As Petakasa gets all over the curbs and he's just about to lose 14th to his teammate Jim Paresis. Indeed he does. Paresis goes through. There's two nose to tail as always. Never could throw a blanket over the pair of them, but I'd probably save that for a after watershed experience. Still 23 runners and riders remaining on lap 26 of 57, and Fidok's got the gap up to 7.7 now from Ranieri, so clearly not driving to save that engine.
Yeah, no, not really at all. The thing is sorry to really quickly point out, is that this is actually quite similar when you think about it as to what we had in Australia with a CSG looking very, very impressive at the front, followed by a Midnight, followed by a CSG, followed by the next car almost 30 seconds behind. That is how good those top three are being at the moment.
9 and 10 have been having a right ding-dong. Kieran Ryan was so defensive into turn 1, he basically buggered his exit up, and Canapino yoinked it back 9th position for him. Kieran then had to go and retake him down into turn 4, so very, very interesting scrap there. Kieran just needs to calm it down in your Irish way, so that you don't have the Irish temper in your flair.
I was going to where you're going with that one. Okay, sure, why not?
Well, if it gets a bit beery and flippant, then it just reminds me of Eddie Irvine, and you just think actually quite often you are on the precipice of having a crash, as Tommy Hagen's on the precipice of yoinking 11th from Mindergaus Columbus, actually, because Columbus is on the prime tyres. Hagen is suddenly found speed on that Red Archer, and Missilis was showing great speed in practice, and now they're looking like they could be on to try and get a double top 10 in the race, which would be great for Red Archer because they had a bit of a quiet start to the season, and they showed good pace in the middle of last year. I specifically remember the French Grand Prix for some reason being really good for Junt and Muscat, but with two new drivers it's taken them a couple of races to get their mojo flowing, and I think Hagen's about to mojo it down into turn 1, but Columbus says no thank you very much. Columbus into my rear wing if you continue that, and Hagen makes a right mess of coming out of that corner as well.
Yeah, no, it's quite good for Red Archer. They had the best car last time out. To bring that up, I think it was them who had the best car, but they didn't make too much of it. With Muscat being thrown into the car quite late, from what I remember, and Hagen obviously not being there, and Missilis. I can't remember what happened to Missilis, but he topped a couple of sessions back there. So, it's been an okay start for them this season, and hopefully going to push themselves into a double top 10 this afternoon or evening even. Jeez, it's afternoon somewhere.
It's always after 9 o'clock somewhere, which is why I can be affording to be as filthy as possible. I appear to have offended a lot of left-handed people, so apologies to Karen Brewster and to Calvin Herms, who are both lefties. I will hug all left-handed people after the show, I promise, and I will do it with leading with my left hand and my left arm. There we go. That's as much love as I can give lefties.
Yeah.
So.
Keep that off the broadcast.
Well, I don't think it's able to be shown. What are we doing with that? That's for the after party.
Wonderful, just wonderful.
So I have asked Calvin why he retired, just to see exactly what happened with that shenanigan, as Petakasa is now clawed onto the back of Roy Schroten, who's just been overtaken by Jim Paresis. So those Torrents now on the faster compound tyre, starting to make their presence felt, and I wouldn't put it past them maybe ascending a few more positions before this race is done. Yeah,
those the Torrents, not particularly a great car here. Let's have a little look on my table. Yeah, they are not a good car. Shout out. But they've not brought too many upgrades, which when you consider how many other cars are faster than them, it's just speaking very loudly of the two drivers that they have, to push themselves into such a good position. And they've just done a long prime stint to start the race, and they're currently running 13th and 15th. And they're on their options. They're going to start going a bit faster and possibly push themselves. Wow, I'm tripping over every word of that sentence. Jeez, they're probably going to push themselves up closer towards top 10 and hopefully a good result.
Garibaldi pops out from his second pit stop. He was the first one to start it last time out. First one this time too. Rejoins in 7th position. Libeer and Missilis go up into 5th and 6th as a result. And Baldy still looking like he could get his first points and first finish of the season for Hawkeye, but it was late in the race that he retired in Malaysia. As Hagen has another go at Columbus for 11th and 12th positions, but that was all a bit of a feinted manoeuvre. I think he's busy preparing himself for maybe a turn 4 assault. But it's so difficult to actually get that. There's that little drop in camber and height, isn't there? As he still has a go down to turn 4. That was a bit of a last late baking braveness. And Columbus says, no, thank you very much, you yappy terrier. Back behind you go. But that's not the way to do the chicane. And Tommy may well reap the benefits of that.
Nope.
Nope. And, but there's, coming out from turn 2, there's that little weird kink and problem with the gradient. And I find quite a lot of people, if you just don't hit that right, you lose like 3-4 tenths of a second without really doing anything. It's strange.
Yeah, it's just a weird set of corners. I will also point the fact out, as I said yesterday, I do not like this track even remotely.
I know. That was your mantra throughout the Formula Challenge race as well.
Yeah, it's just, this track's...
Oh, Columbus! What a save!
Dear.
That was... My goodness me, as Tom Vandervoort there gets out of the way for Giuseppe Ranieri, who's trying to lap these two now. And Tommy thankfully gets out of the way. I think he might be popping into the pits now just to say, do you know what, I'm being held up, I'll get out of it. Redshaw looking a bit manic behind as well, as he was trying to recover his car. But Hagen in then from what is now 15th position as they slide through. That could well have been a drama, because if he was spinning that car out in front of 2nd and 3rd positions, that could have had championship-altering results.
Yeah. I think what we're getting from the results today, though, just speaking of the championship, is we're going to get a nice close championship leaving here with the top 2. I will go do the maths, or I'll get quick maths James to do it. James watching, off you go.
Oh no! Kerno issues! Miller and Morris have pitted together. Oh no! And Lee Morris is having to reverse in the pits. Oh Lee, what a shame.
Oh, that is just bad.
That is a reason why you don't have a teammate that's 2 seconds a lap slower than you, if you're going to have that kind of issue. Sam Miller then comes out in 21st position. What has that done to Lee Morris? Baldy's gone through. Morton Vernonson's gone through, although he's not stopped. But as he trundles down the pit lane, Baldy is already making his way down to turn 4. Morris is entering turn 1, and they were battling quite close on the track before then. So Morris has lost several seconds in that.
Yeah, quite a lot of time lost, obviously, with having to sit there and wait for pit stops. We saw this with the Adonises yesterday, where both drivers decided to pit at the same time. So they gave enough space in the box they could both pit side by side.
3 wide! There's a 3 wide going on. Sorry to cut across. It's Columbus, Kasser and Schroten. 12, 13, 14. Schroten's going to win that one just about. They were 2 wide down the back straight, and it didn't quite work out for them. But Schroten overtakes Mindergaard's Columbus, who seemed to be a bit slow coming out, I think, from a pit stop or something. And there's Kasser now going through too. And it was Kasser who was looking the most feisty of the 3 before that all began. But yeah, back to you, mate.
I've called straight off because I've just totally forgotten what I said. However, something to bring up again. Quick Maths James has gotten back to me. That was very quick maths. Shout out. The 2 CSGs, after leaving this in their current position, would both be on the same points. Ooh! I know, exciting. They would both be on 61 points, with Giuseppe Ranieri in 3rd, 49 points behind. 49 points, well, on 49 points. Not
that
49
deserves
points
some kind of like weird mini racing. You know those. It was Vernonson and Sam Miller nearly collect Mark Fuller, who was busy trying to crash it down at turn 1. But it was. Is it those mini racers where it's the little cartoon characters of the F1 films?
Oh yes,
I want to see that with CSGs where they're just fighting over a trophy, going. We need our own little version. Mini Jeeps.
Is anyone good at that kind of stuff in GPVWC?
I
If
don't
so,
know. We should
on with
find
it.
out. There we go. You've been summoned. Crikey. Well, still 22 drivers remaining. Tom Vandervoort has retired from what was last position. I wonder if he's just given up the ghost because it's a DNF. Obviously, 3 races in, maybe the engine was looking a bit knackered and he wanted to save it for another rainy day. Obviously, this is a hot race, so it's going to be taking its toll. And there's quite a lot of open throttle as well. Schroten and Kassa battling over 12 and 13 as we continue on. And into the pits comes Devidas Missilis and Boyd Bryson.
Wonderful. Devidas Missilis running in 5th position as he came in. So it's been a pretty good drive so far. I think this is going to move Gugabaldi up into the top 5, which that requires a shout out because that car, going to be brutally honest, looking at the statistics, is rubbish. So good shout out to Gugabaldi to put that in the top 5. That really requires a shout out.
Not going to you for therapy.
No, I would be absolutely terrible at it.
Oh, as Missilis rejoins the track and gave poor Mark Fuller a bit of a scare there, I think, as they battle over wooden spoon positions. But that means that Missilis has jumped Lee Morris in pit stops because of Lee Morris's drama. So that will mean that Kenny Lybeer will have jumped them as well, potentially. So that's cost Morris 3 positions.
As Morris is trying to get around Fuller, who's not particularly removing himself from the racing line, shall we say? But yeah, it's not been a good pit stop for Lee Morris.
Tamara and Hagen battling over 18th and 19th on different compounds, but it's going to be these last little pit stops and seeing how long you can stretch out your option tyres for before they start switching to the prime compounds, which a few of the drivers have done. Missilis is on the prime now, as is Columbus. Heasterbeek is still on the primes for the Nijo. He's doing it in a weird back to front. Tumala has just gone on to the primes and been overtaken by Hagen as well. So seems to be the favoured one that you're trying to drag it all the way to the end. Remains to be seen how long you can drag it on for, though.
Indeed. A lot of these cars, you will have to drag them. But also dragging in this series.
Here in Ryan pops into the pits from 9th.
Yes, I was about to say that. Damn you.
Was.
I think also, that was something interesting. I can't remember what's happened to Boyd. Oh, of course, with lack of front wing. Boyd Bryson. They were running together, side by side. Obviously, one in front of the other lap-wise.
Morris had its first go at Missilis, but Missilis got him back on the exit of turn 1 as Roy Schroten gets passed now by Petter Kazza for 12th and 13th. Schroten may try and have another go down the straight. That TMO car does not have the speediest of engines in its back pocket, and Schroten has got his balls to the wall, and that looks like he's having a go. And Kazza, it is painful, but more painful for Petter because he's been squashed up against them as they come out from the apex of turn 1, and that is Morris past Missilis.
I was going to say Morris past Missilis, running on different tyres, as Missilis is having none of it.
Feisty one!
Oh, Morris is going to go around the outside. No!
I tell you what, that's more balls to the wall. Beautifully done there by Lee Morris. Missilis is going back for it. This is an issue.
I think that's that one sorted now. Or is it?
I don't think it is. That Red Archer has got a beautiful car compared to what the Kerno is, I believe. As Morris tries to break the slipstreaming down, Missilis just keeps me and my shadow as they come across a start-finish line. Start lap 35.57. He pulls out. Is he going to be last of the late breakers down into 1? Yes. He's broke so much later, but he's going to miss the apex entirely. Sailing on by. Oh, dearie me.
Nice cutback from Morris there. But to remind everyone what I was going to say before they all start going and everything like that, they are running on different tyres. Morris is on the options at the moment, whereas Missilis is on the primes for me.
Good that he was even able to try and put up any kind of defence, really. He's the only one on the primes actually in the top 13. So clearly everyone trying to kick out the options as long as possible.
Indeed. Hardware's been very different throughout the grid. I think obviously with the R&D that we have, changes, what other, what's happening with everyone else's tyres. It is a lot cooler here than what we originally anticipated it being back in Malaysia. We thought it was going to be hotter than Malaysia. In fact, it's a lot colder. I think it's 25 degrees ambient and 35 degrees track temperature. So it's actually okay for the tyres, especially when this track doesn't have the most amount of sweeping turns. That's in 2 weeks' time when we go to China. Noting another track that I heavily dislike.
Apparently, just in on that, as Liberia is in the pits from what was 4th position, he will rejoin behind or alongside Morris and Missilis, who's going to win out on that one. Liberia out from the pits. Morris is already through. He's going to take back that 6th position, which will become 5th when Vernon's in pits. Liberia does stay ahead of Missilis though, and that helps them out because Missilis was kind of yoinking back that position with the undercut each time. But that's them now on primes to the end, as that was a weird turn 1 thing. Oh, it was just someone getting out of the way, someone has to be lapped. Interesting though, Calvin Holmes, he said that the reason why he retired was that he was getting plenty of love kisses down at turn 1, and that he is now going to take a break, and it looks as though James Kirk will be taking back that wheel as Missilis dives through on Liberia and yoink 7th position whilst Liberia is getting his tyres up to temperature. And
that was a bit aggressive, shall we say?
That was lesbian cell block H moment. That was.
Oh, I've never been there. Thoughts?
Mingy.
Wonderful. I will say that the Vodball and Red Archer of Missilis and Liebert are running on wow. Are running.
They're running on wow.
They're running on wow. Sorry, I just received a message. I received a message, so it really put me off.
I mean, we need to know that message right now.
Post broadcast, maybe post broadcast.
Okay, we need to fill
but yeah, they're both running on the prime compound tyres.
Redshaw onto the back of Ranieri as well, whilst we've been busy degrading the broadcast. Maybe that's what we need to do. We'll just pull out all the jokes later. So I've got a fun joke while we're waiting for interviews to come in as well for what happened to me today, which involved injuring a child. But we will save that for later. Redshaw onto the back of Ranieri, and he's not done yet. Fiduk is in the pits this time by. He should get out well in front. Obviously they'll be trying to desperately not keep that car stationary for any longer than it needs to be, but he's well done and out of the pits as they come out onto the start-finish straight now. Got plenty of cars to be lapping that they're coming up to, and that may well provide a little bit of a chance for Redshaw to get an advantage. Maybe
I finally figured out why those two had closed up. It's because they'd been in pit lane. It took me this long to work out they're on a different compound tyre. Oh wow, is that Nijo flying off in the background?
If it is, it's got to be Heasterbeek. And let's have a wee looky.
Yeah, it was. There was something green in the background that just flew past.
Yeah, spun round. Bizarre as well, really late in the corner.
Yeah.
As Redshaw has a go.
Yeah. He's not quite gotten past yet. He's not got an overlap. However, here, just going to have a look. Obviously, Fiduk has now been into the pit lane as well. And that engine seems to be okay at the moment. With Fiduk. I wonder what the percentage is like left, and he's only got 20 laps to go. Can that engine hold out for all of it? Currently he has a 10.2 second lead over Giuseppe Guarnieri. He's going to defend hard against Lewis Redshaw. I think these lot will be going until the end, obviously being on the prime compound tyre now for the lot of them.
The Sector 2, there was a change of position. Oh, it's Canapino into the pits from Nord Zone. He'll be 9th-ish. And Redshaw gets sucked up into the slipstream, sucking up all the juices of the rear wing and the downforce. Oh, careful under braking. Giuseppe a little bit wobbly on the exit, as is Redshaw, but Redshaw gets the power down a little bit more neatly as they come across the start-finish line. They may not need all of the dramas of everyone else, and look at how closely Ranieri is pushing to the line. Redshaw cannot go deep enough. Oh, Ranieri gives him the room, but Redshaw unable to do anything for it as they come out from turns 2 and 3, and he's tucked up right behind. I find there's more grip down the outside from turn 4 if you're going to overtake, and he goes for it round the outside. Beautifully done. Are you following my driving plan? Oh, no. Giuseppe Ranieri closes the door and says no thank you very much. we are closed for business there today.
We're going to go and ask him for some money for the lessons you've been giving him. And just, oh no, this is how you overtake. Look,
Yeah.
Rachel, watch me. Oh, this is how we do it.
You have to know how to do it right before you can do it as badly as I do. And they're now coming right up to this lapped traffic, which I think could well play a part. Because look at the way how they're all battling each other. You've got Canapino, Schroeter and Clumbis. And Drama Llama's waiting for that to happen. As Redshaw again needs to watch out for his tyres. They've got to last a fair few laps yet.
Indeed. Highware always he in these events. But to say about, to joke about, obviously with Redshaw and you, and overtaking and learning, it is actually not a bad shout for these boys to go and look at what the other series, such as Formula Challenge and Super Cup, what has been happening down there. It's not a bad shout to go and do it. I see Roy Schroen attacking Augustin Canapino for P12 and P13. Roy Schroen going to be on the outside for turn 1. He's on the options, whereas Canapino being on the primes. Roy Schroen is round and up into 12th position.
Run there by the Woods Racing driver. Redshaw again. Look at how defensive. And Columbus gets out of the way as if to say, I'll let you through. That may have spooked Ranieri slightly, who runs Redshaw right the way out to the outside of the track. And that just means that Lewis has to then back off and go again. Giuseppe proving all of his racing chops. And, well, I would serve that up with a side helping of second place sauce. I was going to have those chops.
That
If
sounds
you can hold it there.
remarkably uninteresting. The second place sauce just sounds delicious. Sure.
At least it's not sloppy second. Redshaw has another look.
I saw someone lagging out massively there.
I've noticed Boyd Bryson keeps lagging through
Oh,
the
yeah, I think
track
it might have been
a
Boyd,
few
yeah.
times.
I thought it was more something white and green, so I was going to assume green started, but
Ooh, that's a good point.
my brain, it doesn't work sometimes.
Okay.
It could. It's weaving. Yes, he has been weaving quite a bit.
He has been weaving himself a basket of goodies. They've got Canapino up to lap. That's a bit of a dangerous one. Down into the final turn, you're always leaning on the other driver, and that turn has that weird camber change for the final turn 15 that isn't really.
Yeah. Is Redshaw past now? I think
And here we go.
CSG.
Oh, Canapino so desperately getting out of the way, nearly bins it himself. Ranieri holds it just about for now, and it looks like another turn 4 goodie.
Yeah. We'll have to have a look, see what Redshaw's going to do. He's going to go to the inside of the outside. Plopping on the inside this time, but no cigar there to be found. Nope. No, he's not getting past. I think that CSG is running a higher downforce than the Midnight as well. It's a bit wibbly wobbly from the two of them. But yeah, I think he's running high downforce because he just doesn't seem to close up too much on the straight.
Yeah, he just needs to be able to break it on the corner. Round the outside for turn 7. That'll be an interesting move if he manages it. Ranieri again runs him out dry. And you don't want to go in dry out of those double left-handers. But then really just using all the width of the track. You've got to be careful. Ooh, dearie
Thought he
me.
was going to go for one there.
So did
Jeez.
I. It was the way the camera kind of drops them out of view for me. Is that someone round? That looked like a Kerno. Yeah, it was Sam Miller, who's just now retired. So clearly he's had an issue and called it a day. And here comes Redshaw again for second position. Great battling between these two. This looks like the best overlap he's had so far. Down he goes through the inside. Beautifully done. But now, can he do anything about the slipstreaming action? Careful with the weaving. There comes a point where you've moved once or twice too many. That's about as many moves as he can have. Now, Giuseppe's already ahead by the time they break, but if Redshaw can hold it down the outside, he may be able to do it. As Ranieri gone in too deep? No, he's retaken the position back. Cut off the racing line, and Redshaw has it all to do again. As a Midnight versus a CSG down into turn 4. This time Redshaw goes for the outside. Ranieri always runs him right the way out to the curb. Going to do the old switcheroo, but no. Gets a tank snapper on exit, and again Ranieri stays ahead for now.
Yeah, so he's to have a slide in these cars. Obviously, no traction control, no ABS, no anything like that. Redshaw with the dive bomb. Oh, is he through this time? Yes, I think he is. He's going to be on the outside for 9 and 10, which is going to give him a good line. Yes, Redshaw passed at the moment. Big lock up.
Ranieri, careful. There comes a point where aggressive. It's are you weaving or are you darting? And you've got to be very careful because there's a thin line between the two, but they get ahead, and it's now CSG 1-2 of Fidek ahead of Redshaw. Amazingly, they've only lost a second during all of that battling to Fidek, who must be trying to ease the car a little bit more now in the later stages of, not life, but the life of the Grand Prix. Boldy then still in 4th, then Morris 5, Libia 6th, Vernonson's in 7th, because Missilis is in the pits again. And he's changed onto the option tyre, so has he had a problem? Or is that a 3-stopper that he's trying out? Interesting. Ryan then 9, and Schroten rounds out your top 10 as the battle for second come and lap poor old Roy, who's not coming off that racing line for anyone.
No, he's not. But I think it's kind of the same story that we had back in Australia with the top 8 are the only ones that haven't gone a lap down yet, which just shows that the pace that this top lot have been flinging themselves around the track.
It's like Angry Birds, but not. Angry cars.
That's a game I'd play, definitely.
Angry drivers. If you could just... Ranieri off.
Oh dear.
Completely misses the chicane, gets the back on. Lucky for Canapino to notice that and avoid him. I was unluckily caught out as Boldy finally pits. And that allows Morris through, and it's a game freeze, not a going off for Ranieri, and that could not have been timed worse for him as Boldy rejoins behind Kenny Libia for 5th and 6th positions. Some people then switching to a 3-stopper later on in the game. It'll be very interesting to see how those strategics play out.
Indeed. We're going down the prime tyres, so what can he do? Can he climb up to the back of Kenny Libia? I think he will. I personally do. Not too far behind.
So race order then, lap 44 of 57, coming into the final stintage of the race, if we're not already there for some of the drivers. David Fidek leads by 12 seconds from Lewis Redshaw, CSG 1-2. Giuseppe Ranieri has kept them very honest, in fact so honest they've had to confess to a few of their filthy secrets. We're in 3rd position for Midnight. Then it's Lee Morris in 4th for Kernow. Despite his pit stop dramas that he's had, can he hold it there, and what is his end strategy? I don't know. I think he's still got to put on the primes myself, so I think he's got to be in again. Then Kenny Libia is in 5th. Gregor Boldy's in 6th for Hawkeye. 7th, Morton Vernonson for Vodball. Then lapped is Davidus Missilis in 8th for Red Archer. 9th, Kieran Ryan for Phoenix. 10, Augustin Canapino for Nordzone. 11, Jim Parisis for Torrent. 12, Tommy Hagen for Red Archer. 13 is Roy Schroten, still battling with Peter Kaza. Those two can't get enough of each other today. Kaza clearly has the speed actually because he's on the better tyres, and he's going to go for it. Yoink. Unlucky for some, but unlucky indeed for Peter Kaza.
Wow.
Timed that statement worse. So Schroten gets back up into the unlucky 13th. Is he going around? No. Oh, Woods. There we go. Mindigas Columbus 14th for Target on his recovery. Kassan then back into 15th with it all to do with gain. Easterbeek's right behind in 16th for Nordzone. Can he pick up a point or two for the unlucky Greenies? Then it's Tom Jacobs 17th. Jordan Weeks 18th for Target. Boyd Bryson's about to overtake him in the same move. Are they going to do the same issue? Leaning on each other on the exit. Weeks versus Bryson. But Bryson not quite through. Then it's Tumala 20th. Then 2 laps down is Mark Fuller in 21st, the last of our runners. Then the retirement, Sam Miller, Tom Vandervoort, Danny Asbury, not David Asbury, I don't know where that would come from. Tommy Covenant, Calvin Hermsey, and Harley Hamlet and Nick Roland.
Yeah, obviously the massive first lap carnage that we had. With quite a few of the drivers. I think now we've all spaced out and calmed.
Whoa!
Calmed down. Whoa! What? What's worrying?
Spaced out.
Oh, okay.
Bryson has another look at Jordan Weeks. No, you know if you're going to entertain that one, are you? You're just like, no. Oh, Jordan Weeks gets it wrong on the exit. Don't cut across the track like that in front of Boyd Bryson. So Boyd looking like he wants to get that 18th position. Kicks up the dust on the less grippier part of the circuit. Brakes late. yoinks the position. Nicely done. Jordan doesn't fight it too much because he'd lost it pretty much at the exit of the previous turn. Marla's only a couple of seconds behind as well. But yes, in terms of the actual top lot, it looks like they have spaced themselves out for now, although David Misselis is now onto the back of Morten Vernonson for 7th and 8th position. And, oh yeah, Columbus and Schroten on it as well. Schroten dropping back due to the prime tyres. I think Columbus about to discover that he may be named after Christopher and discover 13th position.
Wow, that was another vague reference.
I love my vagueness. That's a red car in the pits. It's Tommy Hagen, 12th, so that will promote this into the battle for 12th.
Which means Roy gets out of 13th and is back into it.
Exactly, he will never leave that 13th position. Oh, unless he leaves some room for Mindergaus to actually get some nous and get up the positions, but keeps it for now. Nice. Nice choppy of the old racy line.
Yeah, it was good one for Roy. Nice attacking move over. Columbus going to be through on the inside. At 4, however, that line that you were talking about working quite nicely. Oh, that's Columbus off. Nope, he got back. There was a bit of contact between Roy and Roy deciding that the chicane's not a good place to go.
Nasser on it now as well.
Yeah.
Morris is pitted off your screens as well, rejoined in 6th behind Boldy and Lybeer, so keep an eye out for that as we still watch this Schroten, Columbus and Casa. A battle for 12, 13 and 14. It's a delightness that we give points all the way down to 15th position. I think Formula 1 should do that instead of doing this double point malarkey hellhole.
Let's all laugh at Formula 1 and their double
that
point
now
malarkey.
Other places are starting to follow with. I don't get this double points. Everyone says how terrible it is, and then everyone goes, "Oh, we'll follow." Nom, 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 nom. Here comes Columbus again. Yes, I'll share that actually. What our cameraman extraordinaire has given his opinions as Columbus makes a boo-boo of the Schroten manoeuvre and will actually now be prey potentially to Casa, and the ever-present Ruud Heesterbeek is now right behind them, so it's 12th to 15th, all in one camera lens spray. Columbus locks up, but sorry, cameraman extraordinaire Simon Malouche saying that actually they should do it like how the Indy 500 does double points. They should do it for their star race, which potentially would be Monaco. How would you think of that, Mr. McGlade?
I'm open to it, but in my personal opinion, I'm not a fan of double points unless the race distance is double as well. You know, unless you're fighting for something very different.
Yeah.
You know, such as points wise when you look at V8 supercars, when they do the Bathurst 1000, you know that has got quite large points in comparison because it's such a longer race in comparison to what they usually have. Also, shout out V8s on this weekend. I'm watching.
Yay! Well, send us your tweets as we watch Columbus having another go at Schroten. And down the outside, that's all contact.
That was a massive smash, yeah.
That was here, meet my bumper, and Casa is going to try and go round the outside to have the inside if he needs to.
Oh, he's gone a bit too wide.
Is he going to get the gutter?
Yeah.
No gutter balls. Through he goes, and Heesterbeek then sees that Columbus is wrong-footed. Yoinks 14th away, and well, Mindergaus needs some nous about him to get back into 14th position as Casa works immediately on getting his Schroten for 12th place, and those two have already had some Thanksgivings down the home straight before, and Schroten goes immediately to defensive. Casa looks like he could very well yoink it round the outside. Those extra grip tyres. Only Schroten gave him some room on. It didn't happen.
Yeah, although Roy is keeping 12th okay for now, which is just bringing Heesterbeek back into this.
Indeed, now up into the points with Tommy Hagen having already pitted. Lap 47, just being completed. Lap 48 started. Completed. So 10 to go, essentially. Bit of action still to come here at the Bahrain International Circuit, and Boyd Bryson's been off the track. Stays in 18th position.
Indeed, Roy Schroten going a bit too wide at 10. And Casa just pulling back in. However, he's going to have a run for 11. I think Petter might have this.
Beautifully done down the inside, and that will give Heasterbeek the paved way through as well. Working together, Roy Schroten loses 2 in one fell swoop. Both his Schrotens down, and never a place that you want to go. Do not go there, Simba. Bad times ahead. And now Casa will have to really defend because Ruud Heasterbeek potentially has the speed over the Torrent. Well, Torrent versus Nijo. And Ruud Heasterbeek, second last year in the championship, will not be expecting to finish 13th. Unlucky for some here in Bahrain today.
Yeah, obviously you look at his result from Australia, which obviously with the incident with Toby Davis that landed Toby Davis a 10th-place grid drop from Malaysia, which he served. Ruud has not had the best start to the 2014, especially when you consider the fact that he was second in the championship, runner-up in the championship last year. He did take a win. His first win was actually quite late, if I remember correctly. I think it must have been like round 7, around 8, or something like that. It was quite late in the championship when he took his first win. So
yeah,
he pushed his way further up. So obviously long championship. So a long way for him to pull that back. It's 14 rounds after this evening, so there's plenty of time to pull it back. It's not over yet, as Ruud Heasterbeek is fighting for Petter Casa for P12.
He is indeed, and he's about to yoink that 12th position as Casa tries to stay round the outside. Heasterbeek has that one more than covered at the moment. Just behind Schroten is trying to defend from Columbus Steel. I think Casa's going to try one go under the slipstream of Heasterbeek to see if he can hold it, but if not, I think Ruud may pull away. Schroten looks like he's really been caught out by Columbus. Yeah, just wrong place, wrong time there for Mindergaus. Is he putting down the inside for turn 1? He should really get the job done because he's on the option tyres against Schroten on the prime.
Indeed. As Roy is going to go around the outside. Yep, keeping it. That's all good. Braking a bit later. Ahead, Petter is seeming to keep sort of up with Ruud, however only sort of. Just an update on the lead, current leader, David Fidek. 10 seconds ahead of Red and still going, that engine. Kind of getting the feeling that it's going to go to the end now, so 7 laps to go.
Don't say that.
Well, now he's got plenty of time that he can, lift and not push the engine so hard to the end. So, he's in a nice, comfortable position with that lead.
What's really caught my eye is Kenny Lybeer is still doing his strategy of 2 stops and is now being caught and is just 1.4 seconds ahead of Gregor Boldi, who has done 3 stops, as has Lee Morris, who's a further 9 seconds back. But Kenny Lybeer somehow in 4th with that Vod Bull, doing a fantastic job, but will he have the tyres and the speed to keep ahead of Boldi for Vod Bull versus Hawkeye for the best of the rest after the podium positions? BD1 on that.
Indeed. But Kenny's doing a outstanding job to hold 4th at the moment. Obviously, a little while to go into the end of the race, so whether he'll actually hold it off. He's been dropping a little bit of time to Gogo. I said that Gogo might have closed up. Whether he'll actually close up and get past is another matter. Current difference between 2, I think it's 1.5 it was at the last sector split. It's now 1.2. Nope, I've read that totally wrong. Shush. It is 1.5 seconds still.
Columbus and Schroten. Columbus finally got through after more wheel banging. Schroten's just about to try and retake him back through. Columbus keeps on the outside and will have a better exit to take that position from Roy Schroten in the end. And they'll be glad that that's sorted because directly behind them, the next cars on the track is this Lybeer and Boldi battle. Still 1.5 seconds between the pairing of them. Only 10% of the race left to go. So not much time to make your final moves. I don't see anyone making any last minute pits now as Ranieri off again down at turn 1. Was that another game freeze? Let me just see what's happened to him. Oh no, that was bizarre. He went to try and lap Kieran Ryan and just seemed to completely brake and miss the corner altogether. So problems maybe for Giuseppe, if that was just a bit of spooking. Or,
Yeah, what the cameraman just said is something that I was going to bring up is maybe his brakes have started to fade a little bit. If these brakes can go off pretty quickly. Unfortunately, as a couple of drivers found out this season, I know Danny Asbury went out of the Australian Grand Prix because of brakes, but apparently he's looking okay now, so possibly not.
Well, we could afford to ginger it home. He's got 58 seconds over Kenny Liebeer. Such is the sheer pace of what this leading trio had. It'd been interesting to see exactly where Nick Rowland would have been had he have not been out in turn one.
Ranieri going very wide at as Kim Ryan just flew off into the barrier, I believe, or not, just holding it. That was not a comfortable move out of 13.
Does things by half. Does Mr. Ryan is Vernonson versus Missilus for 7th and 8th position. Missilus finally has caught up to the back of someone popped into the pits there. Missilus takes 7th position from Morten Vernonson, and that was Kieran Ryan into the pits. And I wonder, someone was asking, it was the Nordzone manager, Will Panisi, what tyres is Kieran on? I wonder if he's forgotten to do a certain amount of tyres, or he's just completely run out of them. Who knows?
Indeed. Shout out to the big man, Will Panisi.
Will he or won't he? Never know. Panisi.
Willie.
I really... Nah. Less. See, actually no, I can't say those words on air.
It's past 9 o'clock.
See, I normally say... Are
you sure you wanted to?
No, I don't even want to dive into pet names. So, a couple of laps left to go. 4 to go. Still Fidek leads by 13 seconds from Lewis Redshaw. Giuseppe Ranieri, with his various dramas of late breakings and game freezes, in 3rd position. He's not looking quite good for me. He's racing off the racing line.
Indeed.
He's in trouble.
That car's really slow.
Can he do? Yeah. Let's take a look at his lap time as he crosses over. 1:29.589. He's done 2 33s in a row now, and it was 30s before, and he's not actually... Yeah, he's running about 3 or 4 seconds off his best.
Still on the brakes at the same point though, down to turn 1, so I don't think it's a brake thing.
Maybe
don't know
it's
what's
the
wrong
engine.
with this car. I'm going to keep an eye on Pepe,
Yeah,
because something seems very wrong with that car.
Well, you'll keep your beady eyes on it. Missilus has got round Vernonson and stayed ahead for 7th and 8th positions. Boldy and Liebeer are still kind of a second apart, but they're trying to lap Schroten, who is not really helping at all for poor Kenny, and now gets out of the way. Doesn't. Poor Liebeer's having to do him down the racing line again. So some drivers choose to stay on the racing line, some move out of the way. It's just that he seems to prefer staying on the racing line. And apparently Lewis Redshaw has got brake issues, so I wonder if all of that battling and dicing that those two done earlier on has just ruined their brake pedals.
Yeah, I was also told that it could be no tyres. Obviously these lot have been on the tyres for quite a while. Yeah, apparently Ranieri's the same there, so we go. Rear brake issue for the Ranieri. It's not good to be in a race with a braking issue. It's very uncomfortable because you're not really too certain when you go into a corner as to what the car's actually going to do. So, just needs to keep an eye on it. And as I say, these three have lapped so quickly this race. They've got so much time that they can play with, just to keep their positions. Really,
can tell actually that Redshaw is struggling because Missilus and Vernonson were lapped, and now they've caught him back up again, and they're having their own little battle. So Redshaw may want to think about what he wants to do with these two. Does he want to just let them go? And just plod along behind at his own little speed with 2 to go still. He's got 8 seconds over Giuseppe Ranieri, who's suffering with a similar issue. Tom Jacobs moves out of the way to be lapped by the trio. It's very interesting because you suddenly become aware that you are not indestructible anymore, and then you start driving differently.
Yeah, when it's not something technically that you've been doing in the car, although it's it will be down to like setup and stuff like that. It could be anything like damage as well. But when it's not something directly you've done, and the car's going a bit weird, you're always keeping your mind on where else is it going to go weird. Is the engine going to overheat too much? Obviously, I know Dave Fike's been having that issue quite comfortably throughout the race, but it's not comfortable in the car when your car's having issues. However, if people around your kind of position are having the same kind of issues, then it's a bit more comforting.
Hugs for the brakes. Lap 56 of 57 we are now on. Just 2 to go for David Fiduk and that engine that may or may not decide to have a last lap meltdown. Redshaw is keeping Missilus and Vernonson behind. So clearly just running to a pace of sorts, but he's going to start affecting that battle for 7th if he doesn't do something soon maybe. Ranieri is 12 seconds now off of Redshaw, so Ranieri's last lap round was a 1:34.530. He's not been that slow all race, so clearly issues there for Ranieri. Libeer is still in 4th, although Garibaldi now just a second behind, so he's just been eating in 10th after 10th, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time to really have a good stab. Lee Morris is your last unlapped guy in 6th position. Really has been a big old field spread today.
Yeah, really, really big. We've had some close duels throughout quite a lot of the race.
Yeah. This Redshaw lets Missilus go.
Yeah. Just, if you can't really, just getting them Morton through as well. Lap drivers, just let them past. They're not going to hold you up too much. They're probably just going to sit behind you and irritate you if they're behind. So might as well just let them past.
Good thinking, Batman, as David Fiduk starts off on his final lap. We've barely seen him all race. And what will this mean for David Fiduk? Because it's been an interesting run of things, because he's had a second and a third. This will be his first win. He's now stood on every step of the podium if he gets this one home. But it's be the first time that he's really had a good one-up on his teammate Redshaw, and that must be a critical one for him.
Yeah, it's the second time I've ever seen it. Okay, Redshaw's rears have gone, but 1 up to go, and all that. It's going to be good for Violet, having taken the win at the third round of the season. Not in the Druid Championship lead. Obviously, that was when Pepe was in second, so they were the other way round. But yeah, it's going to feel good to be a close second in the championship post this event. I think it'll be 4 points off. So yeah, it's going to feel good for Fiduk.
Is just coming down the final corner right about now. And well, it was a will he, won't he, but that engine is going to make it home. And that is a man that looks like he's deserved that victory. David Fiduk wins the Bahrain Grand Prix for GPVWC Super League 2014. Well done to you, and your first career victory in Super League for CSG. Second, Lewis Redshaw does drag the car home despite rear brake issues. Third will be Giuseppe Ranieri with a very similar issue, but he ran those CSGs right to the wire. And if it wasn't for technical issues, as he really does just literally limp over the line. I wonder if that was engine related maybe as well. So that's for him. Kenny Libeer is still battling away with Garibaldi for 4th and 5th positions. I'm not sure who will get that one. Libeer may have just enough in it. We'll just wait and see as they round the last few corners. Lee Morris will be in 6th position for Kernow Sports. Then 1 lap down in 7th was Davidas Missilus. 8th will be Morton Vernonson for Vod Ball. They've had a fantastic... Oh, it's Baldy! Don't bin it now! Well, it won't matter really. He's only going to lose 1 position. But that has handed 4th to Kenny Libeer, providing he gets out of this final corner nicely and smoothly, which indeed he does. Fantastic effort for Kenny Libeer. Great result for him. And for Garibaldi, that's his first finish of 2014 at third time of asking. Just to round off the rest of the finishers then. So Lee Morris 6th, Missile 7, Vernonson 8th for Red Bull, great stuff for them. Norge Zone 9th for Canapino, they'll be delighted I think with that. Phoenix F1 get a top 10 for Kieran
Shout
Ryan,
out.
great stuff for them. Jim Parisis grabs 11th for Torrent Motorsports, 12th for Ruud Heasterbeek on his recovery drive a lap down, 13th Peter Kaza in the second of the Torrents. Target get points with Mindergaus Columbus in 14th. Roy Schroten grabs the final point for Woods Racing in 15th position, a lap down. Tommy Hagen just missed out though, 2 seconds behind in 16th position for Red Archer despite all his efforts. Then 2 laps down was Tom Jacobs finishing his debut for Nord Zone, not a small feat at all, in 17th. Mikhail Tumala 18th in the top of the green stripes. 19th was Boyd Bryson in the second Phoenix, missed opportunity there. Jordan Weeks 20th in the other target. Sadly not targeting the points at all. Mark Fuller did finish 3 laps down in 21st for ST, and I think they'll be pleased with that because they've had a torrid start to the season. Your retirements then: Sam Miller binned it and was out for Kerno on lap 39. Tom Vandervoort parked it lap 30. Danny Asbury had a game freeze on lap 19. Tommy Kovanen, we think, had a similar fate on lap 11. Calvin Hermsey parked it on lap 8. And our first lap retirements with collision issues: Roland and Harley Hamlin. So how was that for you, Mr. McGlade?
Yeah, it sort of opened up a bit past about 20 laps to go, where there wasn't too much action. But it was interesting to see the strategy wise. Also, that's the obviously third different win that we've had in a row, and it's the third time in a row we've had the pole sitter go on to take the win. So I wonder if that's a trend we'll see continue across the 2014 season.
Only wonder, and wonder why, as we just wait to see if there's going to be a plethora of drivers joining in. That story I was going to tell you about. As I was walking home, I have to walk past some children who rather rowdily play ball outside their house. I know, disgraceful. And they kicked the ball towards me, and unlike most people's opinions, it's not very often I have balls flying in my face.
Wow.
And it did confuse me slightly. And they went, "Oh, can you kick it back, mate?" And so I whacked it. And I whacked it so hard I didn't realise my own strength in my legs. And it went straight past the boys. And it smacked the poor little girl in the face that was sitting behind them, gently grailing on the pavement. And she burst into tears, and I didn't quite know what to do. So I just kept walking and went, "Soz about that."
Soz came by.
Yeah. Because I felt really awkward, like I'd just slightly abused a child.
I would have unfortunately burst out laughing. That's because I'm a truly terrible human being.
Well, from truly terrible human beings to truly amazing drives, or drivers, we have a certain 1 and 2 in the broadcast booth. And let's start off with the newly crowned winner of GPVWC in the Super League is David Fidek. Well done, David, on your first win.
Woo! Oh, yeah.
All those exclamation marks after your name now
Dave.
really do mean it's a win.
It means something now, doesn't it?
It does. Talk us through it, because that looked like you were running the race that you wanted, despite having this niggling feeling at the back that after a traumatic turn 1, you could have been detonating at any moment.
Yeah. I mean, I can't start until I thank Lewis, because I've had a pretty poor couple of weeks with stuff going on in the family, and until yesterday morning I was absolutely nowhere. I couldn't even stay on the track, and Lewis helped me out yesterday morning, and this is all thanks to him, so thanks, Lewis. But yeah, oh my god, I couldn't believe it. I don't know where to start. Too excited. Quali was awesome. Managed to hook a lap up. I got slipstream off Tom Vandervoort as well, coming out the last corner, so it was able to pull me out a bit more. And the start, oh my god, I had a good start. I looked at my mirror and it looked clear into turn 1, and then I just felt a bang. I'm not sure who it was, but I had no choice but to straighten the car up and go across turn 1, so I'm not sure if I'll get anything for that. The car was, it was mainly radiator damage, so it was really hot the first stint until I could repair it, and it cooled down a little bit, but not a lot. yeah, I was just surprised at the pace I was able to do, to be honest, because I know Lewis took damage as well, and his was on suspension, so he couldn't push as hard. But yeah, oh my god, pole fastest lap and win. Hey.
The trio. That's like a BLT in racing. That is. So that puts you quite nicely championshipy wise back into the frame of things. Does that kind of make you, now that you've had your first one, you're thinking, right, I could get quite used to this?
It's not something us in the series you can get used to, because you never know who's bringing what upgrades to the next race, and we definitely haven't got the budget to keep up. So it's nice while it's lasting. You know, that we've had an awesome start to the season, and hopefully we can carry on for a few more rounds. Yeah, you just never know what's going to come up the next race, so you've got to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, so you look at some of the future rounds of that, and the way the cars look at the moment. Do you feel that this first win, that you can repeat that in the championship, or are you going to be a consistent podium sitter over the next few rounds?
I really hope we can win. Yeah, I really hope so. Yeah, me and Lewis are both confident we can win, given the car. But that in the Superleague, that's all it's down to, isn't it? Is if you got the car on the day, and you don't even find out until the day of the race. So you just got to test and do your own thing, and hopefully come race day it will work out for you, which it has today. Got a nice 1-2 despite problems, and yeah, roll on the next one.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your first win in the Super League.
Yep.
And now you're very, very close to the championship lead.
Yeah. Not getting excited about that, because it's not something we're going to get. But yeah, it's really nice to show that when we've got the car, we can perform. So hopefully that's good for the future or next season.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. Go and enjoy. I think a beer and a takeaway is well required for that one. Anyway, we also have Mr. Lewis Redshaw, the other member of CSG, with us here, and that was a pretty eventful race for you to get yourself clawing back into second position, and it looked like things weren't particularly straightforward for you either.
Indeed. I don't know what the hell happened at turn one, but like David said, I went to turn in and got hit. I think it damaged the right front suspension. It didn't feel that bad, but every time I went to correct a bit of oversteer, it sort of wheel felt weird, so I don't know. Repaired it at the first stop, but the pace for some reason wasn't anywhere near I've done on any race runs for practice. So I've got to work out whether that was me or the damage. But no, great job by David, and I don't know if I could have even kept up that pace if I'd been on my best, but it's one of those things. Regretting sending in the setup now, though.
Love you.
Oh, cheer up. Your teammate's just got his first victory. You should be cartwheeling.
Indeed, I congratulated him.
Okay. So talk to us then about your battle with Giuseppe Ranieri, because that ran, and it looked like a very good fun battle from either sides, and like no one was really giving a quarter.
Well, indeed, I like to be as clean as I can when I'm battling people. But then after a while, maybe of people not being as clean as I wish they were and not leaving space, and I turn and do what they do. So eventually I found a way through. Thank you to, I think it was Roy in the woods, who likes to just stay on the racing line when you're lapping him, which actually helped me for once, because I can stay in his slipstream down the next two straights and pull away. But I think Ranieri had some sort of problem on the primes anyway, because he was nowhere. So it was just a case about getting through. I think it damaged my brakes a little bit though, because I was, for the last 5 laps or so, they were overheating and I just cruising to try and get it round. But yeah, a good day nonetheless.
Yeah, so 2 weeks time we're going to China. Is that a track you like? Is it a strong track for you, or not really one you've driven too much before?
Indeed, it's like this one really. Never been that. I've only done this track once, I think in 2011 for Super Cup when I retired. But I mean, the car was driving really well, and I thought I was, but the times just weren't there at all. But it's really, it's driving nice. But yeah, hopefully China, maybe. I don't think our car's particularly suited to the drag requirements of the long straight, so we might have a sort of less of a gap, or maybe a couple of cars ahead of us even. But I'm sure we can work on something on the setup to counteract that, and hopefully keep these sort of results coming.
Yeah, that would be a good thing to see. So we'll keep an eye out for you lot again next time out, 2 weeks' time for China.
One last question that I will ask, just as a cheeky one. I know we do that. We share the questions, but just for both of you, as teammates, now you've got 2 wins. No, you've not. You've got 1 win apiece, and quite clearly you're very, very even in terms of pace. How are you going to keep the peace as things develop over the course of the year? Because that could end up that you win, say, like the Constructors' Championship potentially, but spend time taking points off each other and neither of you win the Drivers. So I'm assuming the focus is on working together as a team, and it certainly sounds like that from the way how you've helped each other get the setup sorted out for this race. What's kind of your secret to making sure that that stays like that going forward?
It's not. No, I'm sure it will.
Simple. Simple.
I meant that's a joke,
Cheers.
but no one laughed, so I just thought I'd carry on. We're pretty good friends, David and I, so I'm sure it won't be a problem. But there will be a moment, probably on the track, where we have to battle each other. Like we had obviously in Sepang a little bit, not much, but I'm sure we're both fairly level-headed and can keep our distance.
That's good.
Dave, anything you want to add to that one?
As Lewis said, we're both professional. We've been racing long enough to know how to race wheel to wheel, and we're on TeamSpeak at the same time, so we pretty much talk each other through what we're doing, I guess. So we're all good.
Great. Well, can't get any scandal out of that one, Lewis. I think we'll have to draw that one to a close.
Maybe in China you can have some scandal if you want it.
Oh, you and a noodle.
I might not turn up.
Fab. I know.
That'd be nice.
That is the scandal waiting to happen. Just go die. Never mind. Anyway, thank you very much, you guys. Go and enjoy your 1-2 and your pulling out of the Constructors' Championship lead. And I think that just leaves us for a quick roundup, Lewis. Anything you'd like to add on, Mr. McGlade plugin?
Well, yeah, why not? I'll be a plug-in, sure. No, there's not really too much to add to that. To look forward to whatever that thing you were saying about with the track thing and the wibbly wobbly and the racing line is advantageous or something with the dust and stuff. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called, but still. But no, we've got in 2 weeks' time. Thanks. We've got in 2 weeks' time, China, and I wonder if CSG can keep that car together. Obviously, they went actually the best car on the grid statistically. That was the Midnight. So to say they got the 1-2 is impressive. It says a lot about their drivers. But where we're going to go with Super Cup, not really. Super League even, not really too sure. Obviously, for anyone who's interested in GPVWC, as I said earlier, WSS in a week's time on the Wednesday, starting up in Bahrain. We're staying here. And then the week after that, we've got Formula Challenge, Super Cup, and then Super League is back at China at the Shanghai circuit, which for me is terrible. So look out for that.
I don't mind the Chinese circuit at all.
I hate it.
I love turn 1 and 2 because I normally have quite a good run.
Oh, there it is. It's back.
It had to be signed off on a rolling LR. So, thank you very much to Simon Lewis, who is as ever our cameraman extraordinaire. And thank you very much, Lewis. Pleasure as always. And I look forward to seeing you all for us in 2 weeks' time. But if you fancy joining in, we've got the WSS next week. You guys will take care. We'll see you in Shanghai.
User left your channel.